times. Your favorite pair.
Interesting job you guys have.
Very smart and very modern.
They are John and Jim.
That's all you need to know about me.
Grateful. Running out for warm-ups and all that. And out there for the anthem. And as the game just got going, I was just thankful.
And NFL Sunday.
Purdy takes the snap, flushed out right, throws. Jennings, front of the end zone. Touchdown.
Broncos and Rams are in. Who's next? So much to cover on a Monday afternoon, and we get started from the San Diego Sports 760 studios. It's John and Jim.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? Hour one, John and Jim. Could be a big week on John and Jim. Got a good show lined up here, including a conversation with Mike Fair on MLB Network Radio. He will join us at 3 p.m. What are the Padres' needs? How do they address them? We'll get into that coming up momentarily. In addition, today, Will Brinson will swing by. We'll talk about, obviously, Phillip Rivers and more. He'll join us at 4:30. And then San Diego State's interim defensive coordinator, Demetrius Sumler, San Diegan. Rob Orich departs for Nebraska. He's got a huge challenge. This North Texas offense, the New Mexico Bowl coming up in less than 2 weeks. Demetrius Sumler will join us live at 5 p.m. But, man, there's a lot going on, but not a lot going on, Jim, regarding the Padres. Is Dennis Lin writing this weekend that the Padres and Mets are, in fact, talking, but Francisco Lindor and Fernando Tatis Jr. specifically are not a part of those conversations. We can get into some of the players that are being discussed. They include Nick Pivetta, Ramon Laureano, Mason Miller, Adrian Morahone, Jeremiah Estrada. It feels like it's been a lengthy conversation about nothing this offseason involving the Padres. Are we getting closer to something happening here? It is interesting that Francisco Lindor, who's been rumored for a week now to be a part of a conversation in a trade, according to Dennis Lin, is not a part of trade conversations involving the Padres.
Oh, so you mean, oh, by the way, happy Monday.
Happy Monday, man.
Oh, so you mean a completely fabricated rumor about Francisco Lindor being traded to the Padres for Xander Bogaerts was actually like false? Wow.
What are the odds?
Sky is blue, water's wet. Like no
Right.
S. That trade was never going to ever happen. So we now thankfully can move on. But moving on, we move on to potentially a more realistic, trade between the Padres and Mets that I don't know if I like all the names that are being rumored here, John, because it seems like, tell me if you agree.
Okay.
It seems like the Padres are trying to get controllable pieces, knowing that they don't have a lot of money to spend and guys that they have on their roster are getting older and they need controllable assets that are major league ready talent because, surprise, they don't have any because they traded them all away. And so now, knowing that Pivetta's basically on a 1-year deal, Miller could get you a lot. Laureano's, what is he on a 1-year option? I think he picked up, right?
That's right.
Jeremiah Estrada is a piece that, you could get something back for if you wanted to put Adrian Morahone in there because he's got 1 year left before he becomes a free agent. Like that's what the feeling is to me today, seeing that the Mets and the Padres are discussing, potential trades here, and the players that are being named on both sides is AJ is trying to get more controllable major league assets because he doesn't have any.
It's interesting you say that. I agree. I think you're spot on. And by the way, the names. So are you opposed to some of the names being discussed, or are you understanding because of the length of the deals? To your point, like Pivetta 1 year, Laureano 1 year, but Mason Miller has like 3 years remaining. So that's more of a concern, or are you concerned about it because getting young major leaguers back, whether they're position players or pitchers, don't equate to right now Nick Pivetta or Mason Miller or Ramon Laureano?
Look, what I'm opposed to, like 100%, is flipping Mason Miller. Because you just traded maybe the best prospect in baseball for him. And this didn't happen 3-4 years ago. This happened
3 months ago.
3 months ago. Yeah, it happened months ago.
Right.
And now you're looking to flip him for like, who are the names that are in this? I don't have the article pulled up in front of me, but do you have the names from the Mets that are being discussed? I know it was a couple pitchers like some pitchers that debuted last year, and
Yeah,
maybe
I'll pull it up. I mean, they certainly have young, controllable talent. The question is, are the Mets in the interest of getting rid of their young, controllable talent to win now? Well, the Padres are trying to get rid of their win now for young, controllable talent.
It's an interesting thought process, because I understand the logic of, hey, we need to get, because we're, I'm not going to say dumb, but like we're reckless here the last 3-4 years in trading away, all of our controllable young major league ready talent for proven major leaguers in the here and now. And so now that we're kind of at a little bit of a crossroads here, how do we maybe use the assets we have and get some controllable good pieces back, so we're not in a situation every year, if assuming AJ is going to sign this contract extension, whenever, right? That we're not in a situation, the AJ in the Padres, while the team is up for sale, in a situation every single year in the offseason, well, they have to dumpster dive because they have no money to spend.
By the way, the names, I have the article here. The Padres, meanwhile, are attracted to the Mets' young pitchers, 3 of whom, Nolan McLean, Brandon Sproat, and Jonah Tong. We saw Tong actually last year at least once.
Didn't he pitch well against the Padres?
He did. He didn't pitch well overall last year. They all made their debuts last season. He goes on to write, of those, McLean is thought to be untouchable or close to it. He mentioned one other name on the 40-man roster, Jonathan Pintero. But certainly McLean and Tong are considered 2 of the better pitching prospects in baseball. Don't know a lot about Brandon Sproat. And, of course, everyone wants young, controllable arms. But I do wonder, Jim, if you were to trade Pivetta and Miller and even Laureano, and you got one of these controllable starting pitchers back,
or 2 of them.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. Even if you got 1 or 2 back, are you in a position to contend in 2026? Or are you better positioned for like 2027 and beyond? And it's going to be a tough sell. I understand they're going to need to compete in 27 and beyond, but I just wonder if you trade for Jonah Tong and Nick Pivetta is part of that deal and other pitchers on your staff are part of that deal, are you positioning yourself for now or for later?
You're probably positioning yourself more for the later than the now. I'm sure they'll spin it by they. I mean, the Padres, they'll spin it like, oh, well, we're doing this both for the here and now. And the future as well. But let's be real. I mean, you're trading away your number one pitcher potentially, and a closer that you traded for last year, and you traded away your number one prospect. Like, I don't know. It just feels like there's a potential pivot happening inside the Padres organization, that AJ is at a little bit of a crossroads on what to do here, whether it be stay the course with what he has and go dumpster diving again because, they don't have any money to spend, and try to get, some pieces that can fill out this roster, and hopefully they turn into a Jurickson Profar or a Kyle Gashioka type of player where they come out of nowhere and perform and are big pieces to a team. Or do you say, all right, we're at a crossroads here, that if we don't act soon to try and build for the future, even though we're reckless and we're trying to win in the here and now and trading away all our prospects, maybe we have to dip the toe in that, hey, we have to think about the future here now, and also the now as well, but more so getting controllable major league talent, because like the rotation after next year too is all kinds of effed up.
Yeah, I mean, I guess my concern would be if you include Ramon Laureano, you need an everyday outfielder. If you include Mason Miller, you need a closer. If you include Nick Pivetta, you need an ace. Like, so if by trading 1 or 2 or more of these pieces for young controllable starters makes you better long-term, I understand that. I would buy that. But is AJ Preller going to have the financial flexibility, the remaining capital, and the ability to make a trade like this, impact his major league roster, and then put his team in a position to win 90-plus games in 2026? It might be hard either way. He might have a hard time winning 90-plus games this year because his rotation is obviously in flux, because he doesn't have financial flexibility, and because his system isn't what it's been the last couple of years because he's traded away pieces. So, and we'll hear from Ken Rosenthal coming up. In fact, do we have Ken Rosenthal on AJ Preller? We don't. We'll get to it. I thought I put it in. I may not have, actually. I may have just said it in my head. I didn't put it in. Did I put it in? No, I didn't put it in. We do have Ken Rosenthal that we'll get for you later. But the idea with AJ Preller is this. And we'll talk to Mike Farron about it coming up, Jim, at 3 p.m. With Preller, you truly don't know. With other teams, you might have a feel. With AJ Preller, you truly do not know. And I do buy that. So I don't know. Everything's a possibility, from making a trade involving major league players, like we're talking about right now with the Mets, to something that hasn't even been considered. Everything's a possibility when you're dealing with AJ Preller, obviously.
Yeah, everything's a possibility. And I mean, your guess is as good as mine out there as far as what he'll do. And, it does feel like a little bit of, tugging on the belt here and kind of fooling people, because the expectation now, whether they like it or not, has been set for this offseason, which is Preller about to do something big, right? And if nothing happens, again, I've said this before, like, I'll believe it when I see it, because all the talk is they're going big, they're doing something, right? Like all these names that are being discussed, right? Miller, Pivetta, Laureano, Morahone, Estrada, Cronenworth, like damn near the entire roster is available, albeit like 3 guys or 4 guys, because, well, 2 of them are untradeable, but you get my point. And so now, guess what all Padres fans are expecting? They're all expecting some type of blockbuster, big time move. And if it doesn't happen and they end up going out and, going to the bottom of the barrel over in the corner and picking up guys for, $2-3 million on 1-year contracts and just saying, here you go, it's not going to really elicit that much excitement going into next season.
I don't know if I want the blockbuster if the blockbuster is getting young talent for proven major leaguers.
I agree.
You know what I mean? Like, I would want that in 2017.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I want that as much in 2026. Like, is Jonah Tong really going to ignite this fan base? I'm not saying he doesn't have a bright future. He might have one of the brightest futures of a pitcher in baseball, but you're going to trade away like Pivetta and or Miller and or Laureano.
Yeah.
And you're going to address the future of your rotation with a guy that had no success last year in the major leagues. Like, I kind of want the opposite. I want to go bring in Francisco Lindor, even though we said that wasn't realistic.
Right.
But that is what has been sold a week ago. So if it goes from Francisco Lindor to Mets number 3 pitching prospect, that to me is a whole different conversation.
Right. No, I agree with you. And I don't want to say that if, fans are expecting a blockbuster move and, that's going to just change everything and the excitement level for next season is going to be great. Like, no, I think what people are sitting here wondering is, like, what is AJ going to do? And if all he's going to do is, go to the bottom of the dumpster and pick up a couple guys off the scrap heap for $2-3 million, like, that's not good enough.
I agree with that.
Like, that's not good enough at all. And it shouldn't be accepted, because this team has to be in a win now mode. When Manny Machado is on your team, still in the prime of his career with Fernando Tatis Jr. and Jackson Merrill, like, you got to go for it. And so I'm just very curious to see if he's going to go down that blockbuster path of picking up Jonah Tong for the future, or is he going to go down the blockbuster path of trying to get a player that can impact this team right now?
Do we have, this is Ken Rosenthal. This is what I was referencing, and I agree with what Ken Rosenthal is saying here. This was Ken Rosenthal earlier today on Preller.
This is a competitive division, and the Padres, depending on what happens here, are going to have a hard time keeping up. So we'll see what happens. And certainly, if Preller trades a huge contract, a Xander Bogaerts, for instance, no one should be surprised. Bogaerts does have a full no trade. If he trades Nick Pivetta, as I mentioned, for the reasons I stated, no one should be surprised. If he gets players that we have not even identified, who would not even be on the radars of anybody writing about this sport or talking about this sport or even involved in this sport, that would not be a surprise either. It's AJ Preller, folks. He's always up to something.
And that's the point that we'll react to on the other side. Mike Farron will have his perspective. MLB Network Radio coming up at 3 p.m. Also, remember, we were told Yu Darvish was not going to retire. They were going to owe him all that money. Has there been an about face there? The latest reporting on Yu Darvish and his future in the major leagues next on John and Jim. All right, we have great giveaways today. We have San Diego State tickets for Wednesday night, Viejas Arena against Air Force. It's the Mountain West Conference opener. We've got a pair of tickets for that. We also have a 4-pack of tickets to the San Diego Auto Show, Jim. 4 days at the Convention Center, New Year's Day through the 4th of January. You're going to find the latest brands, test drives, all new EVs, and fun. Tickets have to be purchased online at sdautoshow.com. We have a 4-pack of tickets. Now, do we have a 4-pack of tickets or a pair of tickets? It's 4 days, and I just happened to say 4-pack. My guess is we have a pair of tickets to the auto show. No, we have a 4-pack. We have a 4-pack of tickets we're giving away to the auto show. So if you're looking for a new car, Jim, you can go to the auto show in January.
I am looking for a new car, Jim.
Are you?
Maybe I'll go.
Why are you looking for a new car?
I don't know.
Just in general? I thought you had recently purchased a car.
No, I'm kidding. I don't need a new car. No.
Okay, good joke. Okay, so we'll give those away coming up later.
But I'm bummed.
Today, again, San Diego State and Air Force coming up Wednesday night at 7. Pregame coverage at 6 right here on your home for the Aztec San Diego Sports 760. Remember, we talked about this in November. There was reporting from Kevin Acee that, we learned that Yu Darvish is going to have Tommy John, and his future was in question in terms of him pitching again in the major leagues. And we bounced around the idea of, well, isn't he just going to retire? Because he's owed a good amount of money, and if he never pitches again, is he really going to hold the Padres accountable for that money, or will there be some type of settlement or buyout? Well, Kevin today, in his reporting, because Yu Darvish was at an event, and in that event, Darvish said he did not know whether he would pitch again in the major leagues. He's nearing 40 years of age. He's coming off Tommy John. He also wrote in the article this: sources have indicated there could be negotiations regarding a buyout of the money remaining on Yu Darvish's deal. What do you think comes next? What's more likely? Darvish appears again in the major leagues, or Darvish and the Padres settle for a number between nothing and what he's owed?
Padres and Darvish settle on some type of buyout or something that along the lines of, leading down the path of retirement for Darvish. So we talked about this, look, he signed the contract. He deserves that money, right? He's going to, in the baseball, Players Association, once you sign a contract, no matter what, that's all your money, right? Unless you retire, then you got to give that money, you don't get it. You can't just retire and be like, I'm going to the bank with all this money.
Mm-hmm.
So when Darvish, who, pitched this year, the team knew, by the way, this isn't hard to figure out. They knew what was going on with Darvish, and they still allowed him to pitch. Crazy to me. But the team knew, and he still pitched, and he did not pitch well. And then right after the season, getting the Tommy John, my first reaction when he said that he wasn't going to retire was, that's not great for the Padres. Because now they're on the hook for this dead money next year of $16 million or $18 million or whatever the case may be. And if he ended up retiring, that would help the Padres out immensely because they're strapped for money and they need all the money they can get. The last thing is to pay a guy damn near $20 million just doing nothing for the entire year, or not doing nothing, but not pitching for them for the entire year. So if there is an about face here, and if the both sides have talked and hey, can we work something out here type of thing, I think that would be in the best interest for the Padres and maybe the best interest for Darvish because, let's be real. Does anybody expect Yu Darvish to come back at his age after this Tommy John surgery again and pitch like he pitched before in the bigs?
Yu Darvish doesn't expect that. Via his translator today, I'm not necessarily thinking about really pitching as I go through this rehab process right now. I don't have that in my mind. I'm just trying to rehab my arm right now. If I get the urge to come back, if I feel that I can stand on the mound and come back, then I will go for that. But I'll just leave it there for now. He is owed $16 million this year, $15 million in each of the next 2 years. That combined number is $46 million. And when you're dealing with the Padres who are exploring a sale and who are quote unquote up against it, think about what $16 million this year would mean to the Padres if they had it back. It would mean everything. We don't even know if they'll spend $16 million. Think about their moves. Ty Adcock and Luis Campusano, and I don't even know what other moves they've made. I don't even remember. Dyson Acosta.
There you go.
Name another one. I can't even think of it. There's one other that is irrelevant and inconsequential.
Kyle Hart.
Exactly. So if they had 16 million just next year, let alone 15 each of the 2 years after that, what would that mean? It would mean a lot. Now, I don't think they're getting it all back. He's owed 46. Bad deal by the Padres. Can you get 23 of it back over the next 3 years and free up 23, which I still think is a lot of money? Here's what I know. Yu Darvish will never pitch again for the Padres, obviously. He is retiring, clearly. He'll either get paid the money he's owed or there'll be some type of negotiated settlement or buyout. But Yu Darvish's last ever pitch in the major leagues was ineffective in Chicago for the Padres this past postseason.
Yeah, I would 100% agree with you. If Darvish ever pitches in the big leagues again, I don't think it's going to be for the Padres, and I don't think he's going to pitch in the big leagues again. I think his career is over. I really do. If listening to Yu Darvish today say that through his interpreter, I mean, does that sound like a person? Does that sound like a guy who's like really wanting to make it a point to return to pitch in the big leagues?
No.
No, it doesn't. So with that being said, there needs to be a resolution here, because the last thing that the Padres can afford or want to do is to pay a guy who's not really like into it $16 million next season.
I completely agree. I mean, it's just, again, we're talking about can they win now and also can they sustain something long term. Part of both of those conversations right now and long term is Yu Darvish, because he's tying up money in 2026. He's tying up money in 2027 and 2028. I'm not putting it on Darvish. I'm just saying a factual statement. The money is tied up. And in an ideal world, you'd free some of that up to help yourself now and later. We can react
100%.
to that moving forward. In addition, Phillip Rivers turns back the clock. He did it in a loss, but man, I think inspiring a lot of people in the process as well. You'll hear from Phillip Rivers coming up later this hour. We have tickets to give away to the San Diego Auto Show. We have tickets to give away to San Diego State and Air Force men's basketball on on Wednesday night. We're here until 6 p.m. Stay with us. John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app.
All right, this update's brought to you by Staples Stores. We'll start with Aztec football news. Cornerback Chris Johnson was named a second-team All-American today, first Aztec since 2022 to garner AP All-American honors. Aztecs women's basketball news today. Nat Martinez was named the Mountain West Player of the Week. Another college football news today. Dylan Raiola, Nebraska's quarterback, has officially entered the transfer portal. Have an easy holiday only at Staples. Save on top tech and gaming gifts plus shipping supplies and services for safe delivery. Don't miss 50% off custom cards, photo gifts, wrapping paper, and more. Visit staples.com/print for details. Staples, that was easy.
All right, we've got Aztec tickets to give away. We have auto show tickets to give away. We'll get into what Philip Rivers had to say following his return 5 years after retiring from the NFL. Before we do that, though, Jim, did you see some of the commentary today on social media from like different Mets, quote unquote, sources or bloggers? Like, a deal could be imminent. Maybe it's done. Maybe it's not done. It could be done today or could not be done today.
You ever see that meme? It was like, it says like, sources, trust me, bro.
Exactly.
That's what all of the chatter online is today, is a bunch of trust me, bro sources out there.
This is Mark Healy. Let me clarify this even more than I thought I did. The talks are rumored to be coming to a close, perhaps even a trade later today. There could be no deal. So you said nothing. Yeah. Like literally you said nothing. Like there could be a deal or there could be no deal. Like sometimes like just put the phone down.
Yeah, just look, we know you want the clicks. Yeah. We know you want the engagement. We get it. But you don't know. And if something were to happen today, blind squirrel finds a nut every once in a while.
Yep.
You know, and that's kind of what I view it. I don't take it at all. I look at it and I'm like, who's this person? Okay, yeah, I've never heard this person before. I don't really care. Doesn't bother. Doesn't. I'm not gonna like if Jeff Passan or Dennis or Kevin or somebody with some credibility that I actually know says a deal is imminent, I'll take that. But for some like rando, like cool. I'm sure you have some sources. Awesome. But in this case, like, I don't know, man.
I agree with you. That's why I want to catch up, and we'll catch up with Mike Farron, MLB Network Radio. He's got great perspective on it. Doesn't make sense for a deal involving the Mets and the Padres. Can they both address their needs through some type of deal, even if Francisco Lindor or Fernando Tatis Jr. is not included? Mike Farron will join us at 3 p.m. So here's the final line from Philip Rivers in his return. They lose on basically a last-second field goal after hitting like a last-second field goal. They lose in Seattle 18-16. He goes 18 of 27. That's 67% for 120 yards. He throws a touchdown and an interception. He had this to say post-game. Let's hear from Philip and react.
Hopefully, certainly I think of my sons and those ball players, that I'm in charge of at the school, that they'll say like, crap, coach wasn't scared. You know what I mean? It's like, shoot, sometimes there is doubt and it's real. And again, you can the guaranteed safe bet is to go home or to not go for it, and the other one is shoot. Let's see what happens, And so, I hope that in that sense that it can be a positive to some young boys, or young people. It doesn't have to be boys, but
okay.
The old theory of right, interesting ending there. The theory of you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. And I kind of like it when he puts it in those terms for people, no matter what you're dealing with in life. Like everyone's scared of something, right? I don't like public speaking. Can you really get off your couch and 5 years later play in the NFL? I mean, there's all different varying ranges of things that people do. But this idea that you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So take a shot, whether you win or lose. At least you tried.
The one thing that I love about Philip, and this has nothing to do with the game yesterday or him returning after 5 years. This is kind of one of those things in like radio and media where you never have to worry about Philip ever dropping a curse word.
You weren't worried in there.
Like you never have to worry about if Brent's, hey, I need this Philip sound really quick. You don't need to preview it to see if there's like a random curse word in there. Because Philip never curses. It's like, it's a quality in radio and media that just like makes Philip so unique is you think he's about to cuss, but he'll never do it.
Yeah.
He has never cursed in his professional career. So that's just on the side. But anyway, yesterday watching Phillip, there were some moments where you're like, uh-oh, this doesn't look good. And you see him before the game and you're like, oh no, Phillip, you're so fat. Like he just like you don't look like you're NFL shape ready. And then he's going out there and still making some throws, right? He's not making any crazy throws, a lot of dink and dunks, couple over the middle. No deep. The only deep shot I think he really took got intercepted. And that was the last pass of the game. But all in all, I mean, gave his team a chance to win. Their kicker makes a 60-yarder to put him up by a point with like 45 seconds left. I'm like, oh my gosh, they're going to pull it off. Phillip's going to pull off a win in his return after 5 years off. Now the defense didn't help because they gave up 3 straight long passes and then the game was pretty much over there. But I thought he played fine. I thought he played, good enough. And I think, hot take, if he just decided to call it quits tomorrow and say, you know what, actually, I'm good. I think yesterday's game puts him over the top for the Hall of Fame.
That is a hot take. I mean, I think the one thing it does is it puts him in like the national consciousness now, right? Like if you had forgotten, now you remember, but it's still going to be another 5 years. I don't think 18 for 27, 120 yards puts him over the top. I don't think he was out now in based on yesterday.
No, not because of his like actual performance. Well, kind of his performance. What I mean is after 5 years off, how many people could go out and do what Phillip just did?
Well, nobody really knows, right?
No one really knows. But still, because of the unknown, the first thought is like, oh, no one could do that. Like no one can come, maybe Brady, right? But I think going out there after 5 years off, I think proves like he should be a Hall of Famer, is my point.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's in either way. I think if this never happened, I think at the end of the day, if you're top 10 in passing yards, if you've been as relevant in modern football as him, again, he's not Tom Brady, but I think there's a lot of reasons to believe he will be in. Now, of course, we need to wait another 5 years, and he's going to have more opportunities, by the way, over the final couple of weeks of the year. I know we're past the trade deadline. Maybe he ends up with Kansas City, though. Maybe they cut him, and then Kansas City picks him up. But I think it was just inspiring that people can do that. I think it's very relatable when we see someone that's a quote-unquote professional athlete do things that's unconventional, because we don't see people stop something for 5 years and then return. So like just the idea of it, is it possible? That concept, he proved that it was possible. He took a shot right away in that game.
Dude.
I mean, an absolute shot that can break your ribs regardless of your age, that can keep you on the field for 10 minutes. Yeah. And he got back up, and I think probably proved a lot to himself and others in the manner in which he played. Imagine signing with a football team on a Tuesday and playing on a Sunday as a 44-year-old. I don't care if you played in the NFL.
And throwing a touchdown pass?
Yeah, it was. So, I mean, like it is kind of insane. And now I wonder what happens from here. The Colts are in a tough spot, obviously, as they were even before they signed Phillip Rivers. They're not in as tough of a spot as Kansas City, but they're in a tough spot. But they certainly were one of the stories of the weekend in the NFL.
Well, also, too, you got to remember, Phillip did this on the road after being signed on a Tuesday against arguably the best defense and best team in the NFL. Like, you could argue that the Seahawks are one of the best teams, if not the best team in the NFL. And he goes out there and, he has to have help from his, running game and his defense and special teams, but still put him in a position 40 seconds away from pulling off an upset win on the road. Like, because of that, I think you just got to look at him and be like, okay, yeah, if you had any doubt that guy was a Hall of Famer or not, he's a Hall of Famer.
Maybe. Potentially. You know what I mean? We'll see. I mean, is he a first ballot Hall of Famer on the other side of this?
Maybe not a first
I don't know
ballot.
if he's that's what I was going to say. I don't even know if he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. I think ultimately he will end up in Canton. I think if you look at football compared to like baseball, there's more paths to the Hall of Fame. Or look at basketball compared to baseball. Like a lot of guys end up in the Basketball Hall of Fame, the Naismith Hall of Fame. many fewer baseball players end up in Cooperstown. I think Phillip Rivers is a Hall of Famer. I think the numbers support that. And I do like the mannerisms in which he speaks. I like how real and authentic he is. I do think that's relatable. I don't know if that's the reason why he gets in. I don't know if yesterday is the reason why he gets in, but it was inspiring, I would say, to watch him play like that, even albeit in defeat. He's had a lot of defeats in his career, and he still has been a relatable player in modern football. All right, speaking of football, is the Chiefs dynasty now officially over? Patrick Mahomes will miss at least the next 9 months with a torn ACL. Plus, Mike Farron, MLB Network Radio, the latest on the Padres and their needs this offseason. Mike Farron will join us live from MLB Network Radio coming up at 3 p.m. This is John and Jim. At John and Jim, we have Aztec tickets we'll give away for Wednesday night against Air Force. We have Auto Show tickets we'll give away as well. John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. Mike Farron, MLB Network Radio, will join us coming up in 13 minutes. Jim, in addition to Phillip Rivers returning, Patrick Mahomes, his season is over. He very well should miss or will miss the start of the 2026 season. He has torn his ACL. So already a bad year has gone to an awful year for the Kansas City Chiefs. We've seen star quarterbacks injure ACLs before. It's not to say his career is over, but what impact does this have on the Chiefs, long term? I mean, are they going to return to that form at any point now that they've had this year and Mahomes is going to miss at least the start, you would think, of next year too?
It is crazy when you match up Mahomes' career so far to Brady's career up until this point, how, in year 8 of their careers, they both tear their ACL coming off of a Super Bowl loss the previous season, where they could have turned into, you had Brady coming off the 07, 17-0, but losing the Super Bowl to the Giants game. Could have been the greatest team of all time. Mahomes coming off of the potential three-peat, but getting blown out by the Eagles. And then the following year, now Brady's happened like right as the season started. I think it was,
I remember.
I forget if it was preseason or not.
I thought it was like week 1.
It was very early on because Matt Castle came in, and I think the Patriots that year, John, won 11 games with Matt Castle and missed the postseason. If I'm not mistaken.
That's exactly right.
It was a very weird year, but
it was the first game of the 2008 season.
Okay. But then you look at Mahomes here. I mean, they're already done. Like it
was done. It doesn't matter if they won.
It doesn't
the
matter.
game.
It was done. It was done. Right. We don't know what that 08 team with Brady would have been like. Right. They still won 11 games. So maybe they do go back and win a Super Bowl. But anyway, we knew this Chiefs team was done. They're old. All the playoff games, everything's caught up to them. And there's a couple ways dynasties die. Either everybody leaves or you get hurt and Father Time catches up with you, or at least not Father Time here because Mahomes is only 30, but injuries catch up with you and you sustain a major injury to basically end your dynasty. And this is what has happened here. Kelsey, like Father Time is catching up to him, old. Right? Mahomes, injury got him. And so now, this iteration of the Chiefs is dead. Like they're done. This dynasty is over. I don't know what's going to happen with Andy Reid in the future. Spagnuolo, right? Chris Jones, Kelsey, Mahomes, but this iteration of the Chiefs, their dynasty, it's dead. It's over. And, again, I heard Nick Wright, I think today, say he would match up this dynasty with any dynasty in the history of the NFL. Okay. But I mean, the Mahomes injury, that's brutal, but the Chiefs just losing and them being eliminated, I absolutely love.
Well, a couple of things. I mean, it's interesting. I mean, again, you've watched firsthand Patrick Mahomes go through your team, which makes it
correct,
kind of a unique perspective. Secondly, and you're right, I think if they are to win again, it'll look different, but their quarterback will still probably be the same. And the fact that it'll be Patrick Mahomes. I don't think what you're saying is Mahomes won't win another Super Bowl.
I didn't say that, no.
Because I do think Patrick Mahomes will win another Super Bowl. And I do think there will be a second act to Mahomes, like there was a second act to Brady. By the way, a lot of the key constituents of Brady's first run were different players in the 2010s than they were in the 2000s. So I'm not saying it's going to be in 2026. I don't know when it'll be. But as a 30-year-old, even off the injury, you wonder if he could have 10 more seasons, maybe 5, 6, 7 of which are pretty impactful or quote unquote in his prime. It'll be interesting to see what the second act looks like is the point. But I think it's premature to say that Mahomes still can't have the second act that other Hall of Famers like Tom Brady even had. Now that's a high bar. It's a high bar, but I wouldn't rule it out entirely.
Look, if I'm the Chiefs, I don't try to do this, but the best thing for the Chiefs, if you're a Chiefs fan, is you want them to bottom out.
Punt on 26.
You got to punt on 26. Yep. You got to get the best draft pick as possible.
Yep.
And you need to reload for Patrick because that cap that Patrick has is going to crush your team. So you need to build from the draft. And look, maybe if you're a Chiefs fan, you want to look glass half full type of thing here. Yeah, Mahomes tearing his ACL sucks, but in the long run could be the best thing because now without Mahomes, there's a real possibility that you garner potentially a top 10 pick this year and next year.
Good point.
So you get, 2 drafts where you get, top picks right in the first round.
Mm-hmm.
And then you reload for when Patrick makes his return. So maybe it's like you never want to say an injury is best case scenario, right? But hey, look, without Mahomes, you got to try to bottom out a little bit here because there's already talk online of like this. The football gods are already setting up Jeremiah Smith to be drafted by the Chiefs in 2 years because, of course, right?
Yeah, that is an interesting way to look at it. I agree. It's like we say in baseball, the worst spot to be is like just outside the postseason in baseball. You're completely irrelevant.
And basketball.
And by the way, in football too. It's like
football.
I mean,
sure.
Do Chiefs fans really want them in 2026 to be the 7 seed and lose in the first round to the 2 seed? Or would they prefer you follow up 6-11 with 6-11 and you get impact piece and impact piece, and come 2027, you're once again a front runner in the AFC or in the NFL in general. Now, again, I don't think any of this is going to be easy, but then again, I don't think anything that Mahomes has accomplished to this point has been easy. This guy's one of the most decorated and accomplished quarterbacks in the history of the league. He's 30 years old. I'm just saying I wouldn't count him out. I agree with you. I think the current iteration of the Chiefs will look way different the next time they're really, really, really good. But I do believe they will be really, really, really good again under Patrick Mahomes. The question is when.
Well, they need to get a lot better. And to be frank, like Patrick needs to get better. I know the postseason, the last 3 years, he's been a Terminator, right? That's the postseason.
Yeah.
And he is, besides the Super Bowl last year when he got his ass kicked by the Eagles,
yeah.
He's been unstoppable. But I mean, regular season, it's been a grind for the Chiefs. It has. They won a Super Bowl. I think they were 10-7. So, the regular season Patrick Mahomes is completely different than the postseason Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes in the postseason, like I said, he's a Terminator. In the regular season, the last 3 years, he's not even close to an all-pro player. Not even close. So maybe this resets the team and resets everything to get him back to playing like an all-pro player because he needs better weapons. The wide receivers they have are not good. They don't have a running game. Kelsey is done. And it's funny because it's like, oh, Mahomes could do this. It's like, interesting. Maybe you are a product of who's actually around you. I'm not saying Mahomes is a bad quarterback. He's not. He's one of the greatest of all time. But still, you look at his numbers with like Tyreek Hill on the team compared to without Tyreek Hill on the team, a little different.
Well, like anyone. I mean, I don't know if there's a quarterback in NFL history that isn't a product of the players that they're throwing to.
Correct.
Or the protection they get up front. So I do think some of that is completely fair. The question is, what will it look like on the other side? And will they be when will they once again be a contender again in the AFC? And there's a lot of question marks, obviously, with the Kansas City Chiefs. We're getting back to the Padres on the other side. Mike Farron, MLB Network Radio, friend of the show. He will join us live on the other side. What are the Padres' needs? How do they address them? And can they work with the Mets this offseason? Would that work for both parties? We'll talk to Mike Farron on the other side. Plus, we're giving away a pair of tickets to see San Diego State Wednesday night against Air Force and a 4-pack of tickets to the San Diego Auto Show. We're giving those away as well. Hour 2 of John and Jim on San Diego Sports 760 and live on the iHeartRadio app is next.
All right, this update's brought to you by Staples Stores. Aztec football news of the day. Chris Johnson was named a second-team All-American today, first Aztec player since 2022 to garner AP All-American honors. Aztecs win basketball news today. Nat Martinez was named the Mountain West Player of the Week. And other college football news, Dylan Raiola, Nebraska QB, has officially entered the transfer portal. Have an easy holiday only at Staples. Save on top tech and gaming gifts, plus shipping supplies and services for safe delivery. Don't miss 50% off custom cards, photo gifts, wrapping paper, and more. Visit staples.com/print for details. Staples, that was easy.
It's John and Jim.
Let's face it, in your particular field, you're the top minds.
Your favorite pair.
Interesting job you guys have.
Very smart and very modern.
They are John and Jim.
That's all you need to know about me.
Grateful. Running out for warm-ups and all that, and out there for the anthem. And as the game just got going, I was just thankful.
And NFL Sunday.
Birdie takes the snap, flushed out right, throws. Jennings, front of the end zone. Touchdown.
Broncos and Rams are in. Who's next? So much to cover on a Monday afternoon, and we get started from the San Diego Sports 760 studios. It's John and Jim.
Hi, San Diego and Southern California. What's going on? Hour 2, John and Jim here until 6 p.m. Great giveaways today. And, of course, the latest involving the Padres offseason. Always great to connect with Mike Farron, MLB Network Radio. Friend of the show, back with us right now, John and Jim. So, Mike, we appreciate it and happy holidays. Before we get to the Padres, how were the winter meetings overall? What was that scene like a week ago?
Yeah. So, like, from our standpoint for hosting radio shows, that were great because we had everybody we needed, and we have like a car wash for basically 8 hours a day with 2 shows where we just go guest to guest to guest. From a fan perspective and an action perspective, they kind of stunk. There just wasn't anything really that went on. There was also a new hotel that they used this time in Orlando as opposed to one of the Disney properties. I don't think anybody could find anybody because there were like 2 separate bar areas. It wasn't great, but at least we had it in here. Hopefully they'll avoid a lockout and we'll get it next year because we're supposed to be back in San Diego.
There we go. Oh, there we go. Perfect. Speaking of San Diego, obviously AJ Preller always in the news regarding, the winter meetings and potential blockbuster moves. When you talk to people and you see what the Padres potentially are trying to do here, what do you make of essentially everybody being in trade discussions and the possibility the Padres and Mets could line up on a deal? What are your thoughts on the recent news about, everything that's happened with the Padres so far?
Yeah, I think the Padres are trying to leave no stone unturned in how they can revamp this roster without having to dip deeper into payroll considerations. So I don't think that there's really much that's off the table. Like, I feel pretty confident that they're not going to trade Fernando Tatis Jr. and that they're not going to trade Jackson Merrill and that they're not going to trade Manny Machado. That still leaves a lot of players that could be available. And I don't think that they really want to, leave any avenue blocked off. So I think that's where a lot of this comes from. The Mets are looking to add depth. And rotation help. And I think that there are some players on shorter term deals that probably appeal to them. I think that there are probably some players that the Padres would love to have access to that are some of the young controllable starting pitchers that the Mets have. Nolan McLean isn't going to get traded, but I think Brandon Sproat and maybe even Jonah Tong makes sense. But I also think that a lot of this probably gets blown up because it's the Mets. And I think that the Padres undoubtedly are having trade talks with just about everybody because that's AJ Preller's style. So I wouldn't put a ton of stock in this yet getting done. Doesn't mean that won't happen, but I think that this kind of fits under okay, that's interesting. Both these teams are trying to find ways to reshape their roster. Maybe there is something there, but trying to complete a 1-for-1 trade is difficult enough. Trying to do something as complex as what the Padres and Mets are talking about probably doesn't happen. Although I would love to see it because, like, we haven't had a good 7-8 player deal in a long time.
Yeah, and if it happens, it could involve AJ Preller and the Padres. Mike Farron with us right now, MLB Network Radio. Just as an aside, Mike, can you put in perspective the deal that AJ Preller is on right now? He's under contract through 2026. There's been discussions apparently both ways about extending that deal. Is it abnormal or not for a general manager coming off back-to-back 90-win years, he's been here 10 plus years, to be entering the final year of a deal? Does it have any impact at all or not?
I don't want to say that it has no impact on decision making. I mean, I think if you're a free agent, you want to know who you're going to be working for. But I would say that it probably is a pretty minor thing currently, especially because it sounds like both sides are working on an extension, right? So I think my guess is that some of this is born of the fact that, obviously Peter Seidler passed and there has been the lawsuit by his widow, and that there has been some uncertainty in what the ownership group was going to look like. And so my guess, it's probably one of processing a lot of different things that it didn't get sooner. And AJ, to me, is the kind of guy who doesn't need to have a contract extension right away. He's not one of those guys that's going to be pushing the envelope for it. It'll get done when it gets done. So I've heard nothing since about September, well, I would say early October, that would lead me to believe anything other than AJ being in San Diego beyond this year. There was a time where I wasn't certain of it, and I think there were some open jobs, and maybe if teams had pushed, they would have had an opportunity to get permission there. But I think with the sale and the uncertainty going forward, I would be really surprised if they don't end up coming to an agreement, because it certainly sounds like they've been talking about it, and who knows when that'll come. So I would think when he got named president, that happened probably in like January, I want to say. So, this at this point, I would guess it probably happens after the holidays.
Just a general question here, Mike. When you see a team going through a sale, the Padres are obviously going through one right now. How much, in your experience, have you seen that impact the team's off-season priorities, off-season moves, spending money, not spending money? How do you view that?
Yeah, I think I don't think that there's one way that I can categorize that. I think for the most part, teams show, I wouldn't say that teams always show fiscal restraint going into a sale. I think back to when the Tribune Company sold the Cubs, and this is going back almost 20 years now, but they knew that they were going to put the Cubs on the market. And 2 years before that, they spent a ton of money on free agency in an effort to try and boost their chances of winning, in the hopes of boosting the franchise value. So I think that there are some teams that look at it this way. I think there are others that are just paralyzed by sales, and that they don't do anything. I have nothing to indicate that the Padres aren't going to operate as they have been operating the last year and a half or 2 years. They have a budget. They know what the budget is. They're going to work through that. They're probably not going to be big spenders like they were under Peter Seidler, but that they're going to try and be as flexible as possible to keep the payroll in a similar range to where it is. And, that's really not all that different than what they did last offseason. So I don't think it's going to end up having a huge impact. I think if you were to be too stagnant, that it might draw some negative attention from potential buyers. But I just think they're in a position right now where it's kind of the regular course of business. I don't really see anything that's going to make that feel a whole lot different.
Mike Farron, MLB Network Radio, with us right now on John and Jim. So I guess I'm curious to get your perspective on just where the Padres are. And do you see it as like a tightrope act where they have needs like the back of the rotation? There's other needs in there as well. And they're trying to, get back to the postseason, and they're on this budget like most teams in baseball are, outside of like the Dodgers, the Mets, and a few others. As in, can they walk this tightrope effectively once again, or how challenging will it be this time around in 2026?
Yeah, it's never easy. When you have a budget, you're always and you're up against it. It's not easy to do, but I think the fact that AJ Preller has managed to walk that tightrope the last couple of years should give you confidence that he's going to be able to field a very competitive team. Listen, like if they roll it out right now, they're going to have one of the best bullpens in the National League. and they still have a really good lineup if they don't make any changes. And so what do they need? They need a couple of starters, right? Joe Musgrove should be back at some point. That'll help some. I'm not sure that they're deep enough in their system to rely entirely on that. So they probably need an external addition or two. But it's not like they're working from, a roster situation that's like Washington's. They're working from a pretty good team. So I think that's part of where the reluctance to do anything, super big is that you don't want to break up this core. I mean, Tatis and Merrill and Machado is still, even though Manny's getting older, is still a pretty good troika. Add into it that I really liked. I think we talked about it last summer, like the Freddie Fermin trade. Like they finally have an everyday catcher, right? That's somebody that they've needed. So they filled a lot of these holes that they have. And in some cases, like with Fermin and, some of the other starters that they'd acquired over the last 2 years, they did it relatively inexpensively. Now they gave a lot at the deadline last year to try and make pushes, but they have a pretty solid roster overall. So I don't think it's going to be something where I don't think it's any more difficult than any other team has. I think that there's a constant woe is me that comes from having a budget. I mean, listen, my wife puts me on a strict budget, and it's woe is me around the house all the time because of that. It's probably smart on her part, but
that's hilarious.
Definitely understand that one. So looking at the rest of baseball here, Mike, what do you think the next big move to happen is? We got a couple at the winter meetings, but not a lot. What's your sense on what could happen here next?
Yeah, I think as to what happens next, I would think that there's going to be a trade for Brendan Donovan at some point this week. It certainly sounds like the Giants and the Mariners, you heard that going back to the winter meetings, were the two teams that were maybe positioned best. I think the Michael King market should get moving here. I think that's another guy that could come off the board. He has a number of suitors. I think those are probably the biggest ones this week. Maybe you'll get another one of the big position players like Kyle Tucker before Christmas. But I think there's going to be some trade discussions too. I do think it'll be pretty active over the next 10 days because I think a lot of people would like to get their business done before they start opening presents. Or at least a good chunk of it, knowing that they can come back in the first week of January and finish it up. And I think that that's probably more like when Bo Bichette will sign. But I think that there's a couple of moves that are similar to those that could happen here. And, you never know. Everything's always a one phone call away, right? So if somebody suddenly blows the Diamondbacks away on Ketel Marte, that deal could happen any day. But I don't think that that's going to be, right. Yeah, that one could drag on for a little bit, just depending on what the way the rest of the market goes. The other name I should mention is Murakami, the Munetaka Murakami, who's the slugging corner infielder from Japan, who's young, strikes out a lot, and hits for a ton of power. His posting deadline is a week from today. And so at some point in the next week, he's going to agree to a deal with someone. So we know the date on that, and it has to be done by the 22nd. There hasn't been a whole lot of buzz on where he's going to end up yet. He's a really talented player, but the strikeouts are a little bit concerning. It could be that he is a little bit Joey Gallo-ish.
Ooh, interesting. A name you've heard tied to AJ Preller for forever. Yeah. What's the budget? What's the dollar figure you're looking at, a ballpark for Murakami?
Man, that's a good question. I don't know. I mean, he's got age on his side, right? Those tend to be the players that get bigger deals. And he has light tower power, but there are some pretty big concerns about the swing and miss. I mean, like he struck out a really high percentage of the time in a league where strikeouts aren't as prevalent in Japan, and he has had trouble handling velocity. And he's probably a first baseman, not a third baseman. So, I think that there's this feeling that it's going to be in the $150 million range, and maybe that is true. Maybe it ends up being 6 years and something, like that. But it's a tougher sell just because of the quality of contact issues. Kazuma Okamoto is the other big hitter that's coming from Japan, and he is more of a complete hitter. He's on the wrong side of the platoon. He's a right-handed hitter. He's probably a first baseman too. He doesn't have the same kind of power. It's probably more average-ish power. But it's like he might be a similar kind of hitter to a Christian Walker type with a tick less power. He's a good player. He's about 4 years older, I think, than Murakami. I think he'll play at 29. I really like Okamoto. If I had to pick between the two, if it were just like, hey, you need to sign this guy for the next couple of years, I think I would probably take Okamoto because I just think he's a better hitter. But Murakami offers tantalizing upside because there's just not a whole lot of guys that age that are freely available who can hit the ball to the moon.
Mike, love the insight. Appreciate you hopping on in San Diego. Happy holidays. Maybe under the tree will be a 7-player deal between the Padres and the Mets on Christmas Eve.
We can only hope.
I'm still holding out for the 5-pound box of money. But,
yeah, I'd prefer that as well. I think Padres fans want that too here in San Diego. Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it. We'll do it after the new year.
No problem. Take care, guys. Happy holidays.
Great stuff from Mike Farron. We'll react on the other side, John and Jim. All right, San Diego Sports 760 congratulates our $5,000 winners in iHeartRadio's Thank a Teacher powered by Donors Choose. There's still time to nominate a public school teacher making a difference. Maybe they'll be one of our next winners of $5,000 to make over their classroom. You can help us say thank you to the educators shaping our future. Nominate your favorite teacher now at iHeartRadio.com/teachers. Interesting conversation there with Mike Farron on a number of topics, including the trade dealings potentially between the Padres and the Mets, but also on that international market, players that have been posted that will sign potentially in the next week or two. Listen, he's more level-headed with the Padres, and I appreciate it. I'm glad we have him on. He doesn't see it as dire, the situation that they're in. Not that we do either. And I don't think Padres fans, by and large, feel as if they're in dire straits. I do think people believe that they're in a window of time that to some extent is closing. That's what I believe people believe, that the window is closing on the Padres. Now it's on Preller to maybe extend that window out.
It's a lot of potential moves that could happen this offseason, and none of them really are like, yep, that's the one. Like, that's the one they got to go do. Mm-hmm. Like, they do this move, that's going to help them get over the hill, right? They're all like, what's he going to do? Like, there's really no plan here that the fans are kind of like, oh yeah, this is what the Padres are definitely, they should do this during the offseason. They're going to do this. It's just complete wild card. Like, he could do something, he could do nothing, he could go big, he could just stay small. Like, and talking out all these moves, like, oh yeah, trading away Mason Miller. It's like, wait, you just traded for the guy. You traded Leo DeVries. It's like, oh, trading away Nick Pivetta. It's like, wait, he was your best starter last year. It's like, oh, trading away, so-and-so. Like, it just, like, what moves are the moves that we could talk out that make the most sense, that help the team the most? Now, again, in trades, it's never lopsided. Like, oh yeah, the Padres trade away Jake Cronenworth, Luis Campusano, and Xander Bogaerts for
Lindor.
Lindor. Like, it's not how this works. But still, it's interesting when all these names are being brought up and you're like, well, if you traded away those players, who the hell are you trading for to replace them?
Yeah, like, he made the point. He's like, listen, I'll stack their lineup up. I'm putting words in his mouth, but right. And basically said, I'll take their core in their lineup. I'll take their bullpen. And now they got to go find a couple of starters. So maybe when you put it that way, okay, they could do that how? Via trade or via signing. Signing, obviously, not at the same dollar figure as other teams. They're not going to spend $30 or $40 million per year on a free agent starter. I guess my question is, like, what is the trade that you're making to make your rotation better? Because if you're trading away Nick Pivetta, if you're trading away even a Mason Miller, and then certainly if you're impacting your lineup with someone like Ramon Laureano, I'm just wondering what that trade would look like to, quote unquote, improve your rotation. I'm not arguing they can't get pieces to help the rotation, but at the expense of the rotation, like the idea of trading Nick Pivetta and you've got a better rotation, that just always makes me scratch my head when I hear that kind of thinking.
Yeah, and that's what I'm talking about, is like the moves that are being discussed, they don't really make that much sense in the fact of, like, hey, is this going to help us be better this upcoming year than we were last year? And I don't have a good answer for you. And if I had to give you one, it probably is no.
Mm-hmm.
So with it being no, make it make sense. You talked about this all last week. Like, make it make sense. I'm not, the Lindor stuff isn't happening. But everything else, potentially trading away Pivetta or Miller or Morahone or Jake or whoever else, Laureano, okay, make it make sense to me. Because right now, I can't make that much sense of it.
I mean, the Miller thing, to your point, would be utterly fascinating. Now, you're selling extremely high. I mean, could you move Mason Miller for frontline starting pitching? Yeah, I think potentially you could. Could the team you trade him to eventually turn Mason Miller into a starter himself? Yeah, probably. But, like, to your general point, like, you traded away your future in Leo DeVries for your now and your future in Mason Miller. You're going to then spin Miller? I mean,
Right.
it's all possible. I need to see what it would look like. I guess
Jonah Tong.
a young controllable starting pitching maybe makes sense. But like, you better be fully convinced that Jonah Tong, who is 21 or 22, he's 22 and had an 8 ERA last year. I get it, in limited starts. You better be fully convinced. Not only is Jonah Tong your future, he's got to be your now. Nobody wants to watch Jonah Tong make 25 starts and have a 6 ERA next year, even if he's good in 2027 or 2028. You need to get a return that makes you better now. That's my point. I'm all about the future too. I want to see the Padres be good in 2027 and 2028, but not at the expense of 2026.
Right. The fact that, you have to kind of mortgage some of 2026 to fill out needs on your team, that's not great. That doesn't feel great to do. Like, that's not the point. The point is to build on what you have,
right,
to try to win now, instead of having to trade away what you have to what? I mean, so you have control of pieces for the future because you don't have any, because you traded them all away, because you're borderline reckless with your moves during the years. Like, it just make sense. And right at this moment in time, I'm hard pressed to look at these rumors, which is what they are. They're rumors, and get behind them. Like, oh yeah, that push for that one. Yeah, there's nothing here that I feel confident and comfortable getting behind as something that I'm like, that right there makes the Padres better next year.
Well, we were right on the initial make it make sense, because it doesn't make sense. And Francisco Lindor is not currently included in trade talks with the San Diego Padres. The question is, can the next version of a trade between the Padres and the Mets make sense? All right, on the other side, we're giving away a 4-pack of tickets to the auto show, which is New Year's Day through January 4th. We're giving that away. On the other side, we do have a pair of tickets to see San Diego State basketball Wednesday night against Air Force. We'll give those away in the 4 o'clock hour. Will Brinson on the return of Phillip Rivers. He'll join us at 4:30. Demetrius Sumler, San Diego State's interim defensive coordinator, as they get ready for the New Mexico Bowl. He'll join us live at 5 p.m. This is John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app. Hey guys, it is John and Jim again for the all-new Jamul Casino Resort, the Players Place. We've been telling you for a while now. Their hotel and spa now open. It's the next level of luxury at Jamul. You can treat yourself to a stunning new stay, rooftop relaxation, indulgent spa treatments, and all the thrills of Jamul Casino Resort, now all in one unforgettable destination.
And savor San Diego's ultimate endless dining experience at Jamul 23. From our world-famous lobster brunch served every morning to luxurious VIP endless dining experience each evening, you can indulge in chef-created specialties, fresh seafood, prime cuts, and decadent desserts, all with stunning panoramic views.
Make sure to check out this brand new spa at Jamul. You can unwind in style, experience pure relaxation with indulgent treatments, serene spaces, and a retreat designed to refresh your body and mind. Only at Jamul Casino Resort, the Players Place.
All right, this update is brought to you by Staples Stores. We'll start with the Aztecs football team. Chris Johnson today was named a second-team All-American, first Aztec since 2022 to garner up AP All-American honors. Aztecs women's basketball news today. Nat Martinez was named the Mountain West Conference Player of the Week. In other college football news, Dylan Raiola, Nebraska quarterback, has officially entered the transfer portal. Have an easy holiday only at Staples. Save on top tech and gaming gifts, plus shipping supplies and services for safe delivery. Don't miss 50% off custom cards, photos, gifts, wrapping paper, and more. Visit staples.com/print for details. Staples, that was easy.
All right, John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. Let's give away a 4-pack of tickets to the San Diego Auto Show in 10 minutes. So be listening for a chance to win a 4-pack of tickets to the San Diego Auto Show. We'll give those away in 10 minutes. Will Brinson will join us at 4:30. Demetrius Sumler, San Diego State's interim defensive coordinator, will join us coming up at 5 p.m. Again, we've been kind of reacting to the post-winter meetings buzz involving the San Diego Padres. In addition to that, we touched on this earlier in the first hour of the show, this idea that Yu Darvish is very unlikely to pitch again in the major leagues. Now, I think you and I were saying this 2 months ago when we learned he was going to have Tommy John. And shoot, we even learned today that he knew last year he was not right? Like they threw him out there despite the fact that he was not right last year. Now, why did they do that? Why did he go along with it? Was it just out of necessity? I don't really understand what went into last year with Yu Darvish. Do you? Like from the spring training shutdown to the repeated returns to the lack of any level of success. What was the collective motivation last year for the Padres and Darvish to go about it in the manner in which they did?
It was just it was an S show. Like from spring training to being shut down to then all the rehab starts and then the simulated games that he pitched and then coming back and not pitching well to being selected to pitch, a winner go home game 3 on the road at Wrigley Field where he was not good. I mean, everyone loves Yu Darvish. Don't get me wrong. This isn't against Yu Darvish. It's just like, in sports, do you perform or do you not perform? And if you don't perform, then you got to go with someone else. And unfortunately, Yu Darvish was probably given way too much leash last year. And there was not many signs that he was right. There was more signs that he was off and that, the saga that happened before he returned from spring training to like, what was it? August, I think it was.
July, August, yeah.
Like everybody knew that Yu Darvish was cooked. His arm was done. Yet they still pitched him a lot and then put him in a situation where it was a winner go home game 3. I just can't get over the fact. And maybe there's something we don't know about Michael King, but Michael King potentially is about to sign a big time contract this week with another team.
Right.
But I just cannot get over. And I haven't seen many people obviously like talk about it in the moment. They chose Yu Darvish with a cooked arm over Michael King in game 3. Again, don't know the full extent of the story. Don't know if Michael King, was right. But what I do know is Yu Darvish wasn't right. And they chose him in that situation. I don't think he alone cost them that series in game 3 because the offense was the main issue once again. But still, I mean, they had to red alert that thing in the first inning.
I mean, was it not? Correct me if I'm wrong. I think it was bases loaded, nobody out in the second.
The second inning, yeah.
He could get nobody out. And yeah, again, we have the benefit of hindsight, but why would you have thought Yu Darvish would have been effective in that spot? And maybe it spoke to more of their lack of pitching depth and the issues they were dealing with all year. I mean, he did nothing basically all year long. By the way, you bring up Michael King. The reports over the last 24 hours are he's choosing between the Yankees, Red Sox, and Orioles. Is that right? Yankees, Red Sox, Orioles? Is that what you saw?
I think I did. It's going to be interesting to see what type of contract he gets.
It's going to be. I want to know if he goes back to the Yankees.
Wouldn't that be something? I mean, Went through the Yankee system.
Yep.
Isn't he from back east?
Where is he from? I'm not sure where he's from.
I know he got married in New York.
Yeah, where is he from? That's a great question. I'm looking it up right now. He went to Boston College, and he was born in Rochester, New York, in upstate New York. So, yes, he's from New York State.
Would be very interesting if he goes back there for what Kylie McDaniel said that, Michael King was going to get, which is a 3-year, $50-something million deal, which I would be floored.
No way you're choosing between the Yankees and the Red Sox. You're taking $57 million, right?
My guess is no.
I mean,
a much better pitcher than that, right?
That's my guess too. I mean, he's combined numbers in San Diego, and I get it. He was hurt. So if that's part of the conversation this offseason, I would understand that. I mean, you'd need the medical clearance, the physical clearance, but he had a 3.1 in 45 starts in 2 years. A 3.1. How is that $19 million a year? Like, that should be way beyond that. I think he gets $100 million.
In today's market?
I think he gets $100 million.
I would bet that he gets $100 million, and I might be wrong on that one, right?
Yeah, but if he gets 57 to our point from last week, then I'm going to be pissed at the Padres if they don't sign him.
100%.
Like, if he ends up with 3 years, $57 million, like, you can't fit that in the budget. Like, dude, take out a home equity line. Like,
yeah,
like get a second credit card.
You also have to look at this too. What does the player want? Does the player even want to return to San Diego?
Well, maybe not, because he didn't start game 3 of the wild card series, to your point.
Maybe he doesn't. Maybe you're right.
I mean, he spoke glowingly about his time in San Diego the 2 years he was here.
Yeah.
He wasn't one of these guys. I'm not saying there's a lot of them, but there's some guys you just know. Like, did I think Tommy Pham was a lifer? No.
No.
Do I think that Michael King said the right things while here? Do I think that if the Padres had money, he would return? I do. I think if the Padres had an open checkbook, he would consider returning to San Diego, would be my guess.
It would behoove the Padres to maybe talk to Michael King one last time, see what his market is. But again, the no money factor here
Is a factor.
Like, they just don't have any money to go out, or maybe they just don't want to go and put their resources in and a starting pitcher for that amount of money. Like, it's just, I mean, they did it with Nick Pivetta recently. Now they gave him all these outs.
Was fake money.
But it was a 2-year, $23 million deal.
Yep.
So my guess is Michael King would not want to do that.
What would you prefer? The $60 million for King, or you go out and trade everyone to go bring in Brandon Sproat? Like,
I'd prefer them to go bring back Michael King.
Yeah, open the pocketbook, live a little.
You got rotation questions for the foreseeable future. So what you need to do is you need to shore up that rotation, because after next year, what is it? It's Musgrove and who?
Musgrove in a final year of a deal,
right?
And Randy Vasquez.
Awesome.
And by the way, did you hear Farron sneak in there? He's like, yeah, I could see Musgrove, contribute this year.
I hope
contribute.
So. He better be like their second best pitcher.
He needs to make like 30 starts, I thought, and throw like 145 innings.
More. He needs to pitch 160 innings.
He didn't say, I don't know if he used the word contribute, but he used a word that kind of concerned me with what, he should make an impact. Like, I hope so.
He better damn well make an impact. He's going to be relied on heavily next year.
And he's making actually more than Nick Pivetta, or near identical money of $20 million a year. And again, I'm not asking to go put him in a position where he's going to get himself hurt or that he can't be successful. You got to be reasonable with it. But he's a full 18 months off Tommy John come next April. Like, they didn't rush him back. He's a full 18 months.
Right.
Of Tommy John. Now, the issue is he hasn't pitched for 18 months. And to think that he's going to look like Joe Musgrove is probably not fair. But yeah, I mean, they got crazy question marks when it comes to their starting rotation. We'll see how they plan to address them. All right, here's what we're going to do. Will Brinson's going to join us coming up at 4:30. Senior NFL writer, CBS Sports. Demetrius Sumler, San Diego State's interim defensive coordinator, will join us at 5 p.m. Aztecs getting ready for the New Mexico Bowl. He will join us coming up at 5 p.m. In addition, we do have Aztec basketball tickets we're going to give away. We're going to do that in the 4 o'clock hour. All right. But call right now. We promise you this. We've got a 4-pack of tickets to the San Diego Auto Show. That is a great giveaway. A 4-pack of tickets to the San Diego Auto Show. Caller 9, you are going. 877-767-4760. Call right now. Caller 9, as in 9, is going to go with 4-pack of tickets to the San Diego Auto Show. 877-767-4760. Now, on the other side, we're going to get to Is That Good? The best and worst of the sports weekend. And again, Will Brinson at 4:30. Aztecs defensive coordinator Demetrius Sumler will join us at 5 p.m. We're giving away a 4-pack of tickets to the San Diego Auto Show right now. And a reminder, by the way, that this will be January 1st through the 4th. You'll find the latest brands, test drives, all new EVs, and fun. Tickets must be purchased online at sdautoshow.com. That's sdautoshow.com. This is at the San Diego Convention Center. Is That Good? On the other side, this is John and Jim. All right, John and Jim. The Wrap coming up at 4. Will Brinson at 4:30. Demetrius Sumler is the interim defensive coordinator for the Aztecs football team. They're playing North Texas in the New Mexico Bowl on the 27th. North Texas happens to have the best offense in the country, and that'll be the challenge for the interim defensive coordinator, Demetrius Sumler, who will join us coming up at 5 p.m. We also have Aztec basketball tickets to give away. San Diego State back on the floor on Wednesday night. Guess who they play Saturday? Number 1 Arizona.
Oh.
Who went to Birmingham, Alabama, and beat number 12 Alabama by 21 on Saturday night. 86-65. Arizona is undefeated. They have 5 ranked wins, the most ever by a team this early in a season, the most in the history of college basketball. That'll be the challenge for San Diego State. But first, Air Force Wednesday, then Arizona in Phoenix on Saturday night.
Well,
you've already seen Michigan.
Already seen Michigan, so might as well see Arizona too.
Looking forward to it, actually. We'll see the progress San Diego State has made since that Michigan game coming up this weekend. Right now, though, let's get to this.
Is that good?
Wilcox, snapper, Huber, holder, from 29 yards away. Oh, he missed it badly. Kick on the way. Boswell. That's a winner.
The good and bad from the sports weekend.
So Steph Curry, he returned to action after missing some time. He scored 48 points last night, 12 3-pointers, and the Warriors still suck enough to lose the game in Portland.
They lost to Portland. He scored 50 points?
Correct.
No, he's not good. Are you kidding me?
You ever see that meme of like the Ferrari underneath the like
I love that.
Of like a trailer park?
Yeah, it's great.
That is the Warriors. Steph Curry's the Ferrari, and every other bum on that team is the trailer park. That team without Steph is awful.
No, that's not true. They got that one dude that's been good. Pat.
They didn't even play him last night. They played him like 4 minutes.
Yes, because you have Steph Curry at point guard. Would you prefer Steph gets less time?
No, John.
I mean, the Warriors, speaking of dynasties, over. I guess
the dynasty, that thing's been over for a while now. Okay?
Yeah.
I'm just glad that he got
14.
I'm just glad that he got a 4th and got a Finals MVP, so everyone would stop ripping him.
Well, you just led me down a path I wasn't planning to go. Speaking of dynasties that are over, Oklahoma City fails to win an NBA Cup again.
Losers.
They blew a 16-point first-half lead to Victor Wembanyama, who's incredible, and returned, and whoever else is on the Spurs. So Oklahoma City suffers their 2nd loss of the year. They lose a pretty closely played game to San Antonio Saturday night in Vegas, which means we have Spurs and Knicks on Tuesday night, but Oklahoma City not looking the part. Is that good?
No, he's not good.
Not
Are
good.
you kidding me?
So
honest question.
So Shea will not win the double. He won't get the title and the NBA Cup in the same year.
Honest question.
Yeah.
Can you even be considered the greatest team of all time if you don't win an NBA Cup in a single season?
Who has won the NBA Cup so far? The Lakers 2 years ago.
I have no idea.
And who? The Nuggets? Brent is just Buffalo? Buffalo doesn't have a team.
Buffalo doesn't have a team.
The Bucks. Okay, so the winners are the Lakers and the Bucks.
You thought I said the Buffs?
Yeah, the Buffs. And this year, who do you like, Knicks or Spurs? Actually, don't even tell me. That'll be in the wrap. What do you have as your next? Is that good?
The Las Vegas Raiders.
Are you kidding me?
What are they doing?
They're the worst team in the NFL. Like I had to watch every second of that game yesterday because they played the Eagles, and Aaron had it on the television. They're awful. They're like fighting with each other. They have no quarterback.
You don't like Kenny Pickett?
Ashton Genty, like every time he touches the ball, there's like 4 defenders around him.
Surprise.
Right. Max Crosby's yelling at like his linebackers to like be better.
Yeah, but they got Brock Bowers who had like 20 yards receiving.
Dude, they are. I know there's a couple teams in the NFL this year that are really bad. Yeah. Giants are included. I would argue that, because I watched the Titans play yesterday too. Titans are infinitely better than the Raiders. It's not even close. Raiders are the worst team in the NFL.
Is that good?
No, we already did it.
Oh, we did. It's not good. How about this, dude? Diego Pavia, the Vanderbilt quarterback, took a shot at me.
Dude, are you going to fight him?
And 849 other people. So there's 850 Heisman voters. I'm one of them. Thank the Lord I did not vote for Pavia to win. Somehow I voted for him second. If I had to do it over again, I wouldn't vote for him. This loser took to Instagram after finishing in second place for the most prestigious award in college football history, like that's bad or something, and said, F all the voters. He finished second. And then, by the way, he took to social media and crafted something off ChatGPT. How do we know? Because it included M dashes, those long dashes in your writing that nobody uses except in 1940 or that uses ChatGPT. I actually use them. But Diego Pavia, like, grow up, dude. And you're never playing in the NFL, by the way. He's like 25. He's like 5 feet tall. So congratulations, Diego Pavia. Is that good?
No, he's not good. Are you kidding me?
Now, if he still has eligibility, I'll take him.
The guy's a complete right. But other than that, guy's a complete clown.
Right?
Complete clown. Zero awareness. Zero understanding. Did you see him at a club? Did you see him at the club?
Dude, I saw him walking down the red carpet. That's all I needed to see.
Yeah, he's a douche.
With his family.
He was at a club and they had like these bottle service women holding up this, thing that said F Indiana. You didn't see that?
I probably did, and I muted everything.
Yeah, he's a
clown. I want nothing to do with him.
Right, he's a joke. You know who's not a joke? Is the guy that actually won the award. Francisco Mendoza, absolutely deserving, won the Heisman this past weekend. Indiana is on an absolute heater. If they win the national championship this year, it would be the best, obviously, season ever for an Indiana fan. You could die happy. But Brandon's that good.
Yeah, it's it. I mean, at least I'm glad he won it, not Pavia, because he cared. It was grateful for winning such a prestigious award. By the way, I saw this at ESPN.com today. The Edwin Diaz deal, a lot of this money is deferred. Shocking.
Shocker.
So he's not paid in full until 2047. By the way, they have 9 deals. Now, none of those deals go beyond 2047. But between now and 2047, in those 9 deals, the heavy hitters on the Dodgers, they owe over $1 billion in deferred money. That's insane. Is that good? Well, no. It's not good.
No, I mean, are you kidding me?
Again, no, I don't have an issue with them spending. I really don't. That's not my. But $1 billion deferred over the next 22 years, is that a little much? Let me answer that. Yeah, it is. It's a little much.
Here's the thing, though, which is the crazy part. They're going to be able to pay off all of that.
Oh, of course they will. Of course they will.
They've already made back the Ohtani contract, probably double.
Yeah.
They can defer as much money as they want, and it can all be paid back in full. Easy, no questions asked.
No doubt.
There's no issues with their deferrals as far as oh man, just wait 10 years now, we're screwed. No, they're going to be totally fine.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to be like, man, what should we do with the team?
Right. No, they'll be 100%. They'll be fine.
They're definitely fine. It's just, I don't know, just frustrating watching them win and then not even have to pay the checks until 2047.
Deferring everything is the Dodger way.
All right, we're going to get to the wrap on the other side. Will Brinson, senior NFL writer, CBS Sports, will join us at 4:30. Phillip Rivers, Patrick Mahomes, and more. Of course, Monday Night Football tonight as well. And then at 5 p.m., Demetrius Sumler, San Diego State's interim defensive coordinator, will join the show. And we're also giving away Aztec basketball tickets. This will be for Wednesday night at Viejas Arena. Conference play beginning against the Air Force Academy. Hour 3, John and Jim on San Diego Sports 760. And live on the iHeartRadio app is next.
All right, this update's brought to you by Staples Stores. We'll start with Aztec football news of the day. Cornerback Chris Johnson was named second-team All-American today, first Aztec since 2022 to garner AP All-American honors. Aztecs women's basketball news today. Nat Martinez was named the Mount West Player of the Week. And other college football news, quarterback Dylan Raiola of Nebraska has officially entered the transfer portal. Have an easy holiday only at Staples. Save on top tech and gaming gifts, plus shipping supplies and services for safe delivery. Don't miss 50% off custom cards, photo gifts, wrapping paper, and more. Visit staples.com/print for details. Staples, that was easy.
It's John and Jim.
Let's face it, in your particular field, you're the top minds.
Your favorite pair.
Interesting job you guys had.
Very smart and very modern.
They are John and Jim.
That's all you need to know about me.
Grateful. Running out for warm-ups and all that, and out there for the anthem. And as the game just got going, I was just thankful.
An NFL Sunday.
Purdy takes the snap, flushed out right, throws. Jennings, front of the end zone, touchdown.
Broncos and Rams are in. Who's next? So much to cover on a Monday afternoon, and we get started from the San Diego Sports 760 studios. It's John and Jim.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? Hour 3 of John and Jim. We will give away Aztec basketball tickets. This will be Wednesday night. Viejas Arena against Air Force. We're going to give those away coming up this hour. By the way, Wednesday night at Viejas Arena, let's see, I retweeted it, is free San Diego State Santa hats for the first 5,000 fans. So if you like Santa, you will like that if you are going.
If you like Santa, then you'll like going.
If you're... Oh, that was me.
Oh, there we go. As I say, you should wear a Santa hat for the broadcast.
I may, but would you ever know? Because it's radio.
Probably not. No, I wouldn't.
Maybe I'll wear a Grinch hat.
Have you ever watched The Grinch before?
Yeah, he's like a bad dude. Terrible guy. Like, you don't steal. Spoiler if you haven't seen it, but he takes toys from kids, which is a joke. Right?
I mean, you're not wrong.
And he has no reindeer. He uses some dog, which is dog abuse.
Okay, dog abuse.
Animal abuse. He goes down some hill and he steals all the presents. Like, yeah, great. But now, to his credit, I think he returns them and grows a big heart.
That's right.
But again, can you if you steal everything, is that even like defensible?
If you return it.
Can you do that? You're telling me right now I can go into Best Buy and take everything and then bring it back?
I don't think the security team at Best Buy is going to be as forgiving as the Who's of Whoville.
Right. That's what I'm saying. What was the question? Have I seen The Grinch? Of course I've seen The Grinch. What am I, an idiot?
I mean, do you want me to answer that question?
All right. We're going to catch up with Will Brinson, senior NFL writer, CBS Sports. He will join us at 4:30. At 5 p.m., Demetrius Sumler will join the show, San Diego State's interim defensive coordinator. They're getting ready for the New Mexico Bowl on December 27th. But right now, let's get to this.
It's time for the wrap. Presented by Sombrero Mexican Food. Check out their website at sombreromex.com.
Will Patrick Mahomes win another Super Bowl?
I hope not, because I hate Patrick Mahomes. I hate all anything involving the Chiefs. I absolutely hate. So I hope he doesn't win another Super Bowl. I hope his career continues on a downward spiral where they never make the postseason again. Is that good enough?
It's good enough. I like the spite. Yes, the question is, how many will he win? Will he win 2, 4, 6, or 8?
Who do we don't appreciate?
I think
Chiefs.
In all seriousness, I think we'll get another. I don't know when. Careers are long in the NFL these days. He could have another 10 years. So,
but is Andy Reid going to be coaching for another 10 years?
Well, that's not a requirement. There's other good coaches. Other coaches have won the Super Bowl. People are running Nick Sirianni out of town, and he's won a Super Bowl.
Okay.
You don't have to be Andy Reid to win a Super Bowl.
Okay.
I mean, agree? You could be Kyle Shanahan.
Oh, wow.
In KC.
Right. Well, when the Niners fire Kyle Shanahan, he'll be the next coach for Patrick Mahomes.
And he'll win like 12.
Exactly.
And Brock Purdy will be a player coach.
No, he'll just be a coach.
Your Niners are hot, by the way.
Dude, they're beating like the worst teams in the league.
You're acting like the Titans are the worst team in the league.
They are. They're 2-12.
But the Raiders are worse. Next question.
who will win the NBA Cup?
Well, it won't be the Thunder.
Who do you hate more, the Thunder or the Chiefs?
Oh, Chiefs, not even a question.
Okay.
I'll go with the Knicks on this one, John.
Knicks?
Yeah.
You see Wemby? He's like 7'5".
Dude, they're like taking him off the bench, dude. He's playing off the bench.
I played 20 minutes the other night. Scored like 30 points in 20 minutes. All right, I'll go with what you're selling. I'll take the Knicks. That's fine. I like the Spurs. I think their Super Bowl is beating the Thunder, though. So I feel like now the Knicks take it.
Beating the Thunder.
Don't you like beating the Thunder in that environment? It was like they won everything. So because of that, because of the natural letdown, although money is on the line, I'll go with the Knicks. I'll go with the Knicks in Vegas in a close one.
Okay.
Next question.
Who wins tonight's epic Monday Night Football showdown between the Steelers and the Dolphins? Did you have any clue who was playing before I just told you?
I did. Sitting on TV for like an hour.
I'll go with the Steelers. Where is this? This is in I'll go
Pittsburgh.
with the Steelers.
If the Steelers cannot lose at home to the Dolphins in 30 degrees or 20 degrees or 10 degrees or 0 degrees. So, I mean, no, this is the whole advantage of playing in the Northeast against a Southern team, especially on Monday Night Football, especially the Dolphins. So the Steelers have to win this game, and they will. What's the line is the question. Well, the Steelers cover is the question. And I bet they're favored by... They're only favored by 3 points, Jim.
That's it?
Dang. What do you have,
6 and 7 Dolphins. 6-7 against the 7 and 6 Pittsburgh Steelers.
What a thriller.
Wow.
Man, Monday Night Football. Get ready for it tonight.
Boring.
Next question.
Are you mad that John Cena lost his final match?
What happened there, Jim?
What do you mean what happened there?
He got blown out. I've been told.
Let me just say that
Nearly died.
Unknowledgeable wrestling fans are upset
Everyone's
that John Cena lost.
Look in the crowd with shock.
Right, and they're all idiots
They're
because
like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, they're all morons because they don't understand professional wrestling and they don't understand that John Cena is retiring and Gunther, who made him tap out, is going to be in the WWE for years to come. And if John Cena won, you just basically buried Gunther. I thought it was the perfect ending. I thought it was a great match. It wasn't the best match of his retirement run here, but it was a really good match. It did exactly what it needed to do. And the fans in that arena that were booing are morons.
Well, to your point, and I understand what you're saying, even though I don't. If they wanted Gunther to have a long, successful career, why didn't they have John Cena wrestle like me?
Because the whole point of this, John, stay with me, all right? John Cena, by tapping out on Saturday night.
Was he the champion?
No.
Okay.
He put over Gunther. He made Gunther. So now Gunther goes on to be this mega heel, and he'll go on to make the next person that beats Gunther, that person becomes a babyface, and even a bigger babyface because he's beaten an ultimate heel. John Cena set up basically the future of the WWE with Gunther making him tap, is my point.
Somebody in the chat said John Cena taught me to give up.
No. No.
So, okay, but this guy was like, can I ask a serious question? He was a how many time champion, John Cena?
17.
Does that mean he held it for 17 years or he had to lose all those times to become a 17-time champion?
He had to lose all those times to become 17.
That's like, is that good? That's Jim uses that argument against LeBron in the finals. Oh, he's 4 and 6 in the finals.
Yeah, but when you win the finals, you don't like have to have someone beat you. Like what? What are you talking about?
I'm saying he lost that many times to then become the champion. Wouldn't it be better to be a one-time champion your entire career than a 17-time champion?
Well, they tested that theory with Roman Reigns recently, who was a champion for like 1,400 days.
Was he popular or no?
He's now popular, yeah.
Interesting. Is he a champion now?
He's not.
So did you watch this is my question.
Of course I did.
Brent, did you watch?
No.
Really?
No.
Why
forgot.
not? Oh, he forgot.
I was watching. What was I watching? I was watching basketball or something.
So, okay, that means you weren't watching Thunder Spurs, Jim.
I was not. No, that didn't tickle my fancy.
But you feel good as Johnny Wrestler, as a big wrestling fan. You feel good about the future of like you're all in, now. You're even further in on WWE now that John Cena's out.
No, but like I understand going into the match, the only acceptable outcome was for Gunther to beat John Cena.
Okay.
And if anybody thought that John Cena had to win his final match, you don't understand like wrestling. Like if you just don't understand it. Like Gunther had to win, and he frankly had to make John Cena tap, which is exactly what happened. And the fans in the arena wanted Cena to win one more time for a cheap pop, not understanding that the business and wrestling will go on after John Cena. So
I buy that.
And people don't win their quote retirement match. Batista lost his retirement match. Triple H lost his retirement match. Kurt Angle, Shawn Michaels, Ric Flair, The Undertaker. Nobody wins their retirement match. They all do it as like a pass the torch type of thing to the next generation of stars. So I don't know why they're shocked that he lost.
You go out on your shield. That's what you do.
Here's what I would say if I was the scriptwriter, and I wasn't. But hear me out. Here's what I would have done. I would have made it at one of these MTEs or whatever. I would have made it one of these big events.
Isn't it MTE like
college basketball tournament?
Oh,
I would have made it at a big event in front of. I would have done WrestleMania. Okay, it's the end of the year or the beginning of the year. And I'm going to make it this huge deal. To do it on Saturday night during Thunder Spurs Amazon Prime action was wrong.
I don't think he wanted to overshadow everyone else's WrestleMania by making it all about him.
Is he really done, or is he going to come back?
He's done.
He's really done.
He's done. So what does he do now?
I actually 100% believe that he'll never wrestle ever again.
So his next career is in acting?
Or yeah, I mean he's in the acting? DCEU as Peacemaker. He's in multiple movies every year. Yeah.
Okay. Well, it sounds like I missed a good one.
I love trying to explain wrestling.
I mean, I know I get it. I mean, I didn't really get it. I watched the clip online that you probably posted.
If I am being critical, the only thing that I will be critical about with John Cena tapping in his final match was like his tap, like tapping out. It was a very nonchalant tap. Now again, if he explains it, and I'm sure he could explain it why he did it the way he did it, because he's getting choked out and he ends up smiling and tapping out. And I just wanted a more emphatic tap. That's all.
What are they going to say about it tonight on Monday Night Raw?
Well, what they created, John, is Gunther is now like the most hated man in WWE for making John Cena tap in his final match.
Yeah. Did you see the video of they had to have security walk him to the bus because there was all these angry John Cena fans that were waiting for him outside the arena?
Gunther?
Yeah.
Guys, it's not real. All right, Will Brinson's going to join us coming up. Will Brinson's going to join us coming up at 4:30. Senior NFL writer, CBS Sports. Coming up at 5 p.m. Demetrius Sumler, San Diego State's interim defensive coordinator. On the other side, we have Aztec basketball tickets to give away for Wednesday night. San Diego State and Air Force will give those away coming up next on John and Jim. All right, John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. Aztecs back Wednesday night. They'll take on Air Force pregame at 6. All of the tip for you at 7 on your home for the Aztecs, San Diego Sports 760. We'll give away 2 free tickets to that game coming up in about 8 minutes. Will Brinson will join us at 4:30. Demetri Sumler, Aztec football defensive coordinator, will join us at 5. Did you see this? Speaking of college sports, Joel Klatt, Fox Sports, said this today. He said that the NCAA tournament is the dumbest tournament in sports and says nobody wants Cinderella stories in college football. We don't want Cinderellas. We want the best teams playing each other at the end. So that was Joel Klatt's hot take today. He said nobody wants James Madison. That was a direct quote. They want the best teams playing each other at the end. I've made this point a number of times on the show, I think. I don't understand why people don't embrace Cinderellas in football, but they do in basketball. It's like people don't even want Cinderellas on the same field. They don't even want to entertain it in football, yet we're perfectly content with watching St. Peter's beat Kentucky in men's basketball. So I get it. They're different sports. But, what's your opinion on that?
I think why people don't embrace Cinderellas in college football is because rarely do you ever see a Cinderella beat a power team from a power conference. Because, like, in this situation, in the college football playoffs.
Well, that's because they've only had like one game, right?
Or, I mean, I get it. And I know there's been teams that, like, every year, or not every year, but there's times like that team just beat this team, right? But honestly, is James Madison beating Ohio State? Is James Madison beating Georgia?
But isn't the point that wouldn't you want to at least give them the opportunity? Because, I mean, I've watched college football playoff games where like Clemson will lose to Ohio State by 40. Nobody has an issue with that. But then they have an issue with, like, Indiana last year lost to Notre Dame by 40. But that's okay. But if Tulane loses by 30, that's some abomination.
It's not. I'm with you. I want to see a James Madison or a Tulane upset a Georgia or an Oregon. Or,
I would laugh if it happened this year.
100%. I would laugh too. And the reason why you have these college football elitists saying that they don't want James Madison and they don't want Tulane, because if those two teams get blown out, we want to watch a good game, or we want to have the, Notre Dame. We want the bigger brands in there. We need the bigger brands in. And I mean, if you're not going to have a James Madison or a Tulane in the college football playoff, then if you're San Diego State or James Madison or Tulane, what is the point? What is the point?
There wouldn't be, at that point, there wouldn't be a point. You got to have a championship to play for.
And not play college football anymore, because there's no point for you as a program if you're going to just say, you know what, we don't want the power 5 teams, or the group of 5 teams, in the college football playoff. It's like, then what's the point?
I go back to like when UMBC beat Virginia, and there's been one since, I forget who it was. Was anyone like, UMBC is going to beat Virginia? No. Everyone said Virginia is going to beat UMBC. They're like, why does the 16 play a 1? And then all of a sudden, a 16 beat a 1 twice in 5 years. I get it. There's NIL. There's portal. I mean, the rich are getting richer. I don't think it's easy for James Madison to have to go to like Oregon or Tulane, wherever they have to go to. I don't think it's easy. I think the deck is stacked against those teams, but I also do not think it is impossible for a group of 5 team to beat a Power 5 team. I mean, isn't one of the great games of this century App State beating Michigan at the Big House? Is that not one of the great games of this century?
Yeah.
Well, guess what? They wouldn't have beaten them if they weren't given the chance to play them.
Right.
That's just my point. And I don't understand the pushback on how could you let James Madison in over Notre Dame? Well, how could St. Peter's be in over someone in the ACC that goes 17-16? I get it. The 17-16 team in the ACC in men's basketball is better than St. Peter's. But guess what? St. Peter's won their league.
Sometimes I think that it's the ego of some of these college football pundits, to where they sit there and tell you for weeks and weeks and weeks how Alabama is like the greatest team ever. And they can't have Alabama go in there and then get beat by James Madison, because then it's going to make them look like a bunch of jackasses that don't know what they're talking about. Because all year we told you that, the fourth stringers at Alabama would beat James Madison by 100 points because they're just so much better and they don't belong on the same field with them. You know, I always think of Boise State and Oklahoma.
Yep. Fiesta Bowl. Yeah.
You know, that happened so long ago, and it's too far in between, like few and far in between. That's what I'm trying to say. Of those things happening.
I mean, Tulane beat USC in a whatever it was called back in the day.
Okay.
I mean, that just happened. There's like 4 examples of what was that New Year's Six? There's 4 New Year's Six games won by a group of 5 teams. They only happened for 9 years. So like it's, I don't know what it is. I mean, I get it. We don't want the Jaguars in the Super Bowl, but they can still play in the Super Bowl.
Right. Absolutely.
You know, and I guess it's a little different. I mean, the NFL is obviously different than the college football playoff structure. I just don't really get the Joel Klatt level of pushback. Like, you're a supporter of college football, yet you just want the group of 5 to just completely go away. They have no business being on the same field. That to me is just too far.
I think one of the differences too is, I agree. Nobody wants the Jaguars in the Super Bowl, but if the Jaguars have a good enough record to get into the playoffs, nobody's going to be like, oh, they don't belong there.
Right. Exactly. Right. All right, whatever. We'll see what happens. I mean, there's 2 opportunities this year. I'm not saying either of them are going to do it. I would laugh hysterically if one of those 2 teams won, Tulane or James Madison. What do you do then? What do you say then if you're like college football? What do you do with the structure moving forward?
I would love it. It would shut up the Joel Klatts of the world and all the college football elitists wanting to, just have their way of doing things like this. Like the college football playoffs, they need kind of like a team to kind of rattle the cage. And
true,
you got 2 opportunities this year with Tulane and James Madison. So
yeah, it's not going to be easy. Make no mistake. But I love how this is what's going to happen. Tulane will lose by 3 touchdowns, and people make a big deal out of it. And then Miami will lose to Texas A&M by 3 touchdowns. Nobody will care. That's my point. Right. That's my overall point. All right, call right now if you want 2 free tickets to see the Aztecs men's basketball team take on Air Force Wednesday night, 7 p.m. Viejas Arena. First 5,000 fans get SDSU Santa caps. We have 2 free tickets to see the Aztecs back at Viejas to take on Air Force to begin Mountain West play for a final time ever for the men's basketball team. Caller 7, you are going 877-767-4760. Call right now. On the other side, Will Brinson, senior NFL writer, CBS Sports, talking about Phillip Rivers and Patrick Mahomes and more. That's next on John and Jim. Hey guys, it is Schaefer again, and there is no better time than now to get down to your local Toyota dealer. They do have new vehicles arriving daily. We're talking about their most popular cars and trucks and SUVs. Whatever kind of vehicle you're looking for, you can hurry into your Toyota dealer today, or make sure to head to Toyota.com if you're looking for a great deal on a new Toyota. There you can check out all the latest offers and search inventory. Finding the Toyota that's just right for you starts at Toyota.com. Toyota's Beyond Zero lineup of electrified vehicles helps to create a greener planet. Toyota's Beyond Zero lineup supports a greener planet with a wide range of electrified vehicles, including hybrids and plug-in hybrids and fully electric vehicles, or take each day further than you thought possible in a new Camry with its stylish looks that'll make an impression wherever you go. See your Toyota dealer today and discover what makes Camry legendary. There's no better time than now to get your local Toyota dealer. Get your local Toyota dealer today or Toyota.com. That's Toyota.com. Your Toyota dealers, we make it easy.
This update is brought to you by Staples Stores. We'll start with the Aztecs football team. Chris Johnson was named a second-team All-American today, first Aztec since 2022 to garner AP All-American honors. Aztecs women's basketball news today. Nat Martinez was named the Mountain West Conference Player of the Week. And other college football news today, Dylan Raiola, Nebraska QB, has officially entered the transfer portal. In NFL news of the day, it's official. Micah Parsons, he will miss the remainder of the season with a torn ACL. Have an easy holiday only at Staples. Save on top tech and gaming gifts, plus shipping supplies and services for safe delivery. Don't miss 50% off custom cards, photo gifts, wrapping paper, and more. Visit staples.com/print for details. Staples, that was easy.
All right, we'll catch up with Will Brinson momentarily. His thoughts on the return of Phillip Rivers, the injury to Patrick Mahomes, and of course this showdown tonight in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, the Steel City, between the Steelers and the Dolphins. One of the great AFC rivalries renewed tonight in mid-December. All right, we have Will Brinson back with us on John and Jim, senior NFL writer, CBS Sports. We asked you what you thought it would look like last week, the possible return of Phillip Rivers. He now has since returned. What'd you make of everything that went into yesterday with Rivers? And thanks for hopping on, Will.
Yeah, guys, always a pleasure. I can't believe that was only a week ago. It was one of the most. We have a text thread called All Things Wolfpack, and it was here in Raleigh. It was one of the most electric weeks of our lives. And I even texted. I was like, I don't know if you guys. I think you guys have a clip from last Monday, but I was like, you guys got to hear. I was like on fire in San Diego radio. I thought it went pretty well. Like Phil looks a little, and like this is not me. There's no shame here. Let's be very clear, because who knows? I'm 44 too. Who at 44 does not look a tad thicker than they did at 34, especially when they retire. Like physically, you could tell he hadn't played football in 5 years. There was that one fall where, then he got up to scramble. You're like, oh, it's old right there. But I thought generally the way that he came in and managed the game and made the throws he needed to make, and like he's still, he's probably the greatest swing pass thrower in the history of professional football. Chargers fans and people in San Diego know all about that for years with all the different running backs from Sproles to LT and everybody in between. But like, I thought that, getting the ball to the running backs, throwing, the ball placement was good. The velocity, maybe gets cranked up a little bit. And it felt like after he got popped that one time, you got that one hit kind of early, it sort of like woke him up and he started really getting in rhythm. And it sucks that Seattle came back and won the game and he threw the pick, but still just an incredible story. And they're like 8% to make the playoffs now. So it is a longer shot, but like I think he can make them if that defense plays the way it did on Sunday for the rest of the season. It at least makes them competitive in those 3 games with a chance if things break their way to make them make some kind of miracle happen. But I like overall, how can what's the meme? It's like, how can you not be romantic about a 44-year-old man playing football?
Right. It was. Yep. I was like glued to that game yesterday because I was watching the Niners, but like
there were like 5 great games going on.
I know.
It was like that was the game that I couldn't stop watching.
And I made the argument today, Will. Obviously, he didn't put up any gaudy numbers, right? He didn't go 400 for 4 touchdowns. But he played competent. He went out there, threw a touchdown pass, gave his team a chance to win. We'll have to see what he does in the remaining weeks of the year. But I can only think that this helps his future Hall of Fame candidacy. Would you agree?
Yeah, and I also think there's a factor of it too, where so right now he was obviously a semifinalist for the Hall of Fame, but he was because of the retirement timelines. Eli's there, Drew Brees is there. I almost think you kick it down another 5 years and this amazing return and plays well. If he gets in the playoffs, it's almost a cinch, right? But yeah, I think I think moving himself out of that crowd of quarterbacks that he was peers with, because that's just how the Hall of Fame works, right? They just tend to, they're not going to be like, okay, we're putting all three quarterbacks in at once. You just don't see that very often. It requires, to be like a lock job first ballot Hall of Famer, you have to be a true, like, no doubter, like a Rodgers, a Breeze, probably a lock job first ballot, but like, Manning, Brady, et cetera. So I think it definitely helps his case. Like, because it only keeps him, and also he gets 5 more years of free healthcare, which is great for 10 kids.
Smart.
But I think it'll definitely help his case, because it has been, I mean, in a week with a ton of big stories, it has kind of been the story, that's been talked about nonstop, and for him to go out there and not only not embarrass himself, but put on a really good show, play extremely well, and frankly, give his team a chance to win until the Seahawks just made a late move.
Will Brinson with us right now, senior NFL writer for CBS Sports. Yeah, it's kind of incredible to think about the idea of going like 1,800 days between games and putting yourself in a position to win a football game is really incredible. All right, so on the other side, obviously,
it was surreal. It was surreal
ridiculous
when they announced that he was starting. It was crazy.
It's kind of like watching. For me, it's kind of like boxing. It's like, wait, we haven't seen this boxer in 10 years. Are they really going to look like the boxer? And they don't when you watch the boxer 10 years later. But again, I thought Rivers looked enough of the part yesterday. Now, with the Chiefs, obviously the season was going sideways. Now they've lost Mahomes. We'll see what impact that has on him to begin 2026. Are they better served? We had this conversation earlier today. Like, if they win 6 or 7 games this year, and let's say next year's another down year because Mahomes isn't 100%, could they be right back at it a year or two from now with some top 10 or 12 picks to kind of reload around Mahomes heading into, let's say, 2026 or 2027?
Yeah, possibly. Let's not forget Tom Brady tore his ACL the year after the Patriots had the undefeated season, and they lost the division. The Dolphins won it. I think it was the Wildcat year, which is like insane. So like, look out for, I don't know. I think the Raiders should do something really weird on offense. Yeah, Ashton Jeanty Wildcat. Actually, not a terrible idea, Pete Carroll, if you're still around. But I think the Patriots were still competitive, and that was sort of one of the hallmarks of the Brady and Belichick discussion for years. Was Brady missed a year, and Bill Belichick nearly won the division with Matt Castle as the starter. I would not be, I don't, this is 2025, so ACL surgery, way different. I mean, it's insane. I mean, like back then, you tear your ACL, and Brady tore his at the beginning of the year, so it was, that's how it happened. But like, I wouldn't be surprised at all if the Chiefs just came back and won 12 games next year. Like, I think Mahomes will be. We're going to get, all off season, ahead of schedule reports, blah, blah, blah. He didn't have any major other ligament damage. He's been incredible about recovering from injury before. And yeah, like, I don't know that they'll get like, so I don't think they're going to opt for, let's kick the can down the road and try and get some picks. I think they're going to say, let's retool, expecting Patrick Mahomes to be ready week 1 and come back with a vengeance. And, look, I mean, Travis Kelce's got a decision to make. I would think that, having to play the final few games without Mahomes, maybe that, I don't know if it changes it either way, honestly. But I mean, this is still a team that, when they're not having just a terrible run of luck, which they did, and quite frankly, like, they're probably overdue for it. When the receivers are healthy, it's still a very good team. So I wouldn't rule out the Chiefs coming back and being right back where they were, with a year off.
The odds for the Chiefs making the postseason this year, even before Patrick got hurt, they could have still lost yesterday's game, even if Mahomes didn't get hurt, and then they're eliminated. Could you argue that the Micah injury, tearing his ACL, is a more devastating injury for just this year alone? Because I mean, the Packers, they have hopes of winning a Super Bowl. Like the Chiefs, their season kind of felt like it was over. Like the Micah injury feels like more significant, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think significantly more significant, because even if Mahomes finishes that game and maybe he comes back and helps them win it, but they might have just lost even if he'd been out there at whatever percent he was at before the injury. The Micah injury is a backbreaker for the Packers, because I mean, go back a week ago and, Green Bay is looking dominant. Jordan Love is playing incredible football, 9 touchdowns, 1 interception in the previous 4 games. He was starting to do that thing where he heats up late in the year. And it just felt like Green Bay was about to go on an absolute tear. They're going to go to Denver, win as short favorites on the road against the number 1 team in the AFC, and then just heat up, win the division, challenge the Rams for the number 1 seed, and just be a big problem in the playoffs because of how dangerous the defense is. I mean, it's still a good defense even without Micah, but it's not an elite defense. So I don't think if anybody's arguing that the Mahomes injury is more significant for this year, I think they're crazy. I think you can easily argue that the Micah injury the Parsons injury has a bigger effect on playoff odds, on the NFC, playoff picture, and who's going to come out of that side of the bracket than almost any other injury we've seen this year. That's a bad one for the Packers because he was, they invested so much in him and he was such an impact guy.
Who wins tonight? Steelers, Dolphins.
So Tua's record, it's going to be like 16, a high of 60. It's a high of 16 today in Pittsburgh, which
it's cold.
I know you guys are dealing. I'm sure you guys deal with this stuff all the time out in San Diego. It was like
rough out in San Diego.
17. It was like 17 when I took my kid to school this morning in North Carolina. Pittsburgh, much colder. High of 16. Tua is terrible in cold weather games where it's like sub 40. He's like 1-9 against the spread. I don't know. I can't remember the exact numbers, but it's really bad, both straight up and against the spread. Mike Tomlin, Steelers on a 22 game home winning streak on Monday Night Football within the franchise. Mike Tomlin, I think 21-3 on Monday Night Football all time. So, missing TJ Watt, that's a problem too. The Steelers have struggled when he's not out there at times throughout his career. I just think that they find a way to get it done. I think the Dolphins offense is going to be pretty lethargic. I could be dead wrong, but total 42 shouldn't be a ton of points. I think Pittsburgh kind of gets after it. Big Peyton Wilson game. Shout out to NC State. Also, NC State playing for the NCAA championship in soccer right now. So if anybody cares about that, which they don't. So I'll take the Steelers to win and cover.
I like that. I like the NC State references in there as well. We'll be watching the Gasparilla Bowl here in San Diego coming up in just a few days. We appreciate you doing it as always, Will. We will connect again next week. And thanks for hopping on as always in San Diego.
All right. Sounds good, guys. Talk to you later.
I'll give you $100 million if you tell me who NC State is playing in the Gasparilla Bowl.
Dude, I got.
You're not going to take a guess for $100 million.
$100 million? I got nothing.
He didn't guess.
I can't even
It's 136 FBS teams. You had a 1 in 136 chance of $100 million. The deal's off.
I don't know. Hands up. I don't know. Memphis?
USC.
You're such an idiot. You looked obviously, you moron. Hands up. First of all, they're not playing Memphis. They're playing Memphis.
Memphis. I can't say Memphis without saying Memphis.
All right. San Diego State's interim defensive coordinator, Demetrius. You're an idiot. Demetrius Sumler will join us coming up.
$100 million.
No, I said deals off before you said it. Demetrius Sumler at 5 p.m. Mike Farron, if you missed him earlier, MLB Network Radio. I'm going to kill you. Stay with us. It's John and Jim. $100 million.
Yeah, that's what you owe me.
No, can't cheat.
I didn't cheat.
Okay. Demetrius Sumler coming up at 5 p.m. He's got the enviable task as the interim defensive coordinator at San Diego State to slow down the top scoring offense in America, North Texas. They average 45 points per game. We'll catch up with Demetrius Sumler at 5 p.m. If you missed Mike Farron, MLB Network Radio, we started the show talking about the Padres and these trade rumors and the speculation with the Mets. Now, remember, Dennis Lin poured some cold water on the Francisco Lindor idea by saying Lindor isn't even a part of trade discussions, nor is Fernando Tatis Jr. Between the Padres and the Mets. But that doesn't mean the Padres and the Mets are not speaking about how they can potentially make a deal work. So if you missed Mike Farron, you'll hear that coming up at 5:30. Are you waited on bated breath? Are you expecting a deal at any moment here between the Padres and the Mets?
No.
Are you expecting a deal in general between the Padres and the Mets?
I'm expecting a deal, but not necessarily a deal between the Padres and the Mets.
I agree. You're expecting a deal in general.
Yeah. I'm expecting something to happen with the Padres because it has to. And they need pitching desperately. And when AJ Preller needs something, he goes out and fills those holes.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, how does he do it? I think he's going to do it through a trade. I really do. I think there's a lot of smoke here. Now, I don't know particularly what the trade would look like or what, but I do think that a trade will happen. Yeah, I do.
Yeah, I agree with you. And maybe it is a flashier move, like what Mike Farron was saying. It's like, it's been a while since we've seen 7 or 8 players move.
Yeah, just give me the craziest trade possible.
But I still don't know if a 7-player trade would you call that something that makes the Juan Soto deal look small? If the Padres traded Pivetta, Morejon, and Mason Miller, or let's say Pivetta, Laureano, and Morejon, would you say that makes the Juan Soto trade look small? I would not.
No, I would not either.
So I don't think there's anything that could make the Juan Soto deal not look big unless you traded Manny Machado or Fernando Tatis Jr., something like that.
And that's not happening. Again,
Exactly.
Once again, Padres fans are led to, the water, and the water turns out to be all gone. You're like, what? I thought this was supposed to be a big trade. I thought this was supposed to rival the Juan Soto deal. That's what Kevin said. Like, that's why it's dangerous to write that. To write that sources are saying that the Padres could be on the verge of making moves that rival the Juan Soto deal.
I mean, listen, you write what is reported, you write what people say. I get it. I mean, listen, if it was the lead of the article, it wasn't even the lead of the article. The article's premise wasn't, watch out, Padres about to make a earth-shattering move. I don't even know what the article was about, but it was like paragraph 7 was like, oh, by the way, Padres are brewing up something that could make the Juan Soto deal look small.
It's like, when you write that, what do you expect fans to do? Like, just overlook that
And then
sentence?
when he joined us, he was like, yeah, I don't know if I should have written it that exact.
Right.
I don't know what he said, but he said something along the lines of, yeah, when I wrote it, I thought about it because I knew it would elicit reaction. He still might be right, Jim. It's just, we might not know the timeline. They may make a really big move between now and the start of the season. But I still, in my head, I'm like, well, how big of a move can you really make? Because Tatis is untouchable per Preller, even though he won't use the word untouchable, even though he did use the word untouchable. And if he's untouchable, then, I'm sorry, even if you traded Xander Bogaerts, that wouldn't be the Juan Soto trade, obviously. People would be jumping for joy. He also has a no-trade clause. I don't know why people don't care about no-trade clauses.
They just don't understand.
Isn't that the purpose? The players have the no-trade clause?
Right. Like, I think Ketel Marte has like a limited no-trade clause, right? And everyone's like, oh, he wants to go here or go there. It's like, guys, he has unlimited no trade. Like, these guys, these players have no trades. You can't just, be like, oh, you're going here. It's like, no, the no trade clause thing is real. And by the way, if you tried to trade a player with a no trade clause and they, waive their, or they enact or activate their no trade clause to not be traded,
then they're mad.
Yeah, think about how that relationship's going to be.
Well, and also with the agents, you have to remember the agents.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't sign a deal with a no trade clause and then be like, we're trading this player, so figure it out. I mean, that doesn't go over well with agencies or with the player. Now, listen, I have faith that AJ Preller figures this out, like to some extent. I think there'll be a move. I think there'll be probably a sizable move at some point, and I still think we'll have questions. I don't think AJ Preller solves all issues this offseason. Sorry. Like, did he solve all the issues at the trade deadline? We thought briefly maybe he did, because everyone thinks at the trade deadline you've solved all your issues. But like, I don't think he solves everything, but I do think he'll make a sizable move and it'll get people excited, and then we'll get into the season and we'll see what their deficiencies are, because they're no perfect roster heading into the year.
No,
that's how I see it.
No, and if you ended up trading away Pivetta, Miller, and Laureano for 4 players,
right?
I mean, man, you're still going to need to fill the players you just like traded away, which is essentially, last year borderline 3 All-Stars.
Correct. Yeah, good point. Oh yeah, we just traded away 3 All-Stars, but we got back Jonah Tong. I mean, that could be great for the future of the organization. But yeah, I'm with you. I mean, I think it is a little bit of a tough sell, depending on what you return. Again, you're not returning Francisco Lindor. Francisco Lindor is not going to be the return in a trade. So there is going to be a tougher sell. Some of these younger pitchers are not going to be perceived as Francisco Lindor. All right, we're going to switch gears to Aztec football. They're getting ready for North Texas in the New Mexico Bowl. That is a week from Saturday in Albuquerque. And Demetrius Sumler is the interim defensive coordinator, taking over for Rob Orich. He will join us on the other side. If you missed Mike Farron, MLB Network Radio, you'll hear from Mike Farron coming up at 5:30 as well on the Padres offseason plans. Hour 4, the final hour of John and Jim on San Diego Sports 760 and live on the iHeartRadio app is next.
All right, this update is brought to you by Staples Stores. We'll start with Aztec football news. Chris Johnson was named a second-team All-American today, first Aztec since 2022 to garner AP All-American honors. Aztecs women's basketball news today, Nat Martinez was named the Mountain West Player of the Week. In college football news, Dylan Raiola, quarterback for Nebraska, has officially entered the transfer portal. And NFL news of the day, it's official for the Packers. Michael Parsons has tore his ACL. He'll be out for the remainder of the season. Have an easy holiday only at Staples. Save on top tech and gaming gifts, plus shipping supplies and services for safe delivery. Don't miss 50% off custom cards, photo gifts, wrapping paper, and more. Visit staples.com/print for details. Staples, that was easy.
It's John and Jim.
Let's face it, in your particular field, you're the top minds.
Your favorite pair.
Interesting job you guys have.
Very smart and very modern.
They are John and Jim.
That's all you need to know about me.
Grateful. Running out for warm-ups and all that, and out there for the anthem. And as the game just got going, I was just thankful.
And NFL Sunday.
Purdy takes the snap, flushed out right, throws. Jennings, front of the end zone, touchdown.
Broncos and Rams are in. Who's next? So much to cover on a Monday afternoon, and we get started from the San Diego Sports 760 studios. It's John and Jim.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? Final hour of John and Jim getting ready for San Diego State's bowl game, the New Mexico Bowl, coming up a week from Saturday against North Texas. And great to connect right now with San Diego State's interim defensive coordinator, who's been on staff a long time on the Mesa. Demetrius Sumler is with us right now on John and Jim on your home of the Aztecs, San Diego Sports 760. So first of all, Coach, we appreciate you taking time for us. Secondly, what kind of challenge is this? Rob Orich departs for Nebraska. You are tasked with taking over, and the opponent is North Texas, the top total offense in America. How much are you looking forward to this opportunity, but how big of a challenge is it as well?
Oh, absolutely. It's going to be a great challenge. They do a great job offensively. I mean, even defensively, special teams wise, they got a great record. There's a reason for that. So it's definitely going to be a challenge, but, that's what we signed up for. We're up for the challenge. I know the players are. I know I am. What more could you ask for in a bowl game? One of the best defenses to go play against one of the best offenses.
Yeah, it should be a great matchup. Today we found out that Chris Johnson was named a second-team AP All-American, first Aztec since 2022 to garner an All-American honors. For you, how has it been to see the growth in him over the year and become one of, if not the best corners in, all of college football?
Yeah, it's been awesome just to be a part of it. Not even just this year. Chris has been here since he was a freshman, and just to see how he's grown and developed as a football player, just even as a man. That's kind of the reason I got into coaching, is to, have a major impact on young men and help them develop on and off the field. And Chris is just such an awesome kid that, everything we've asked him to do, he's done it and just continue to get better and better and trusted us with staying here at San Diego State. And he's kind of reaping the benefits of that now. So, it's been amazing. He's one of the best, if not the best, that I've ever coached. And more importantly, he's just a great person. So, I give a lot of respect. I have a lot of respect for Chris and what he's done for San Diego State.
San Diego State's interim defensive coordinator, Demetrius Sumler, is with us right now on John and Jim. Now, Coach, you've been here through some great defensive years, obviously, on the Mesa. You think about all the successes on that side of the ball. What was the key this year from game one until where you are today? I mean, just look at some of the statistical improvements on defense, whether it's up front with the linebackers in the secondary, a group you've worked with extensively. Like when you look back in the year, what were the primary keys to turning this defense around from last year to this year?
It always starts with the players. And a lot of those guys that are on the defense this year, they played last year. But a lot of those guys, it was their first time as a full-time starter. So, when you're starting for the first time, you haven't seen a lot of things. The game is moving a little fast for you. So it was huge, this offseason. Coach Lewis and our staff did a great job of just retaining our players that had accumulated a lot of snaps, and we knew, they would benefit from that. So that was the first thing, is just returning the talent we had. Obviously we added a couple pieces. And then Coach Rob Orich, man, he did a great job just simplifying the plan for those guys, really understanding what we do well, what we don't do well, and really just trying to emphasize and maximize the things that we do well. So I thought he did a really good job of that throughout the season. The players believed in what we were doing. They knew what we were doing. And then just the culture that Coach Lewis has built here around toughness, around playing for your brother, all those things it all hit lightning in a bottle, and guys played pretty well throughout the season.
Yeah, I just wanted to elaborate on that. The success of the program overall from, 3 wins last year to a chance to win double-digit games this season. Just, talk about how the growth and the expectations have gone from where you guys were at last year to now. It's like this has become now the standard under Coach Lewis here at San Diego State.
Absolutely. We believed in Coach Lewis when he got here. And, when he first got here, he said that's going to be the expectation. And he said that's what we were going to do. And I don't think anybody in the program didn't believe him when he said that. So, he's done such a great job of just developing a great culture where the guys can be themselves. They have fun, but they still get to work and still are physical and still, kind of hold on to those things that you need to be successful in football. So it's been awesome to see. Like you said, I've been here through some really good seasons, a few bad seasons. To be back on the winning side, it feels pretty good.
Demetrius Sumler with us right now on John and Jim, San Diego State's interim defensive coordinator. As you know better than we do, obviously it takes all units to win football games. How do you feel about the team where you are coming off the 9 wins? Obviously, that game against the University of New Mexico was such an epic game that New Mexico won in double overtime. You've kind of had a chance now to reset. How does everyone feel about kind of where you are collectively heading into this bowl game in a week and a half?
I think guys were a little disappointed with how the season ended for us. Losing that game, which was in our control. We don't make excuses here. So, we lost the game. We had the chance to control our destiny. We didn't do that. So I think, the staff and our players are most disappointed in that. Obviously wasn't able to get in the conference championship due to that. So, I think we got a little bit of a sour taste in our mouth and guys want to go out and finish this thing the right way. We talk about how few teams actually go win 10 games in a season, and we have the opportunity to do that. So I think our guys are excited to get back out there and kind of get that bad taste out of our mouth. If you look back at the season, anytime we didn't really play well in a game or we lost a game, we bounced back pretty strong that next game. So, I believe our guys will bounce back and they'll be hungry and try to go get that 10th win.
I've asked you this before. How does a former terrific running back, I mean, you ran for like 6,000 yards out of San Diego, and I know coaching is unique in that way, but you were a terrific running back. You played in college, you played at Colorado. How do you go from a prep running back to professionally working on the defensive side of the ball?
Coaching is just a lot of teaching, to be honest. And right when I got in the profession as a GA, I was on the defensive side from the start. So I've never actually coached offense. I played offense. I've never actually coached offense. I still understand it. I still can remember some things from my playing days. But ever since I got into coaching, I've been on the defensive side of the ball. And I've been fortunate, here at San Diego to, work under Tony White, who's at Florida State now, and Zach Arnett, who's at Mississippi State, Danny Gonzalez, who's at Arizona, Rocky Long, obviously, Bobby House. We had some great coaches here when I first started as a young GA. So just sitting in those meetings and soaking up all the information I could and learning from those guys. And, some of it's trial and error also. Probably wasn't the best DB coach young in my career and had to learn from some mistakes. And just like a player, you develop and you get better and better at it the more you see.
That's really good insight. Before you go, I talked to Sean during his weekly coaches show, and just in general on North Texas, is like, listen, they're an elite offense. You don't just, slow them completely down. You don't shut out North Texas, right? So what will it take defensively? I mean, it's not just defensively, just in all facets. What is it going to take to win a game against a team like North Texas in general?
Yeah, well, they score a lot of points, but they run the ball a lot. A lot of people think when all they kind of highlight is all their passing yards. They're a very efficient run game.
Yeah.
And that's always where we start defensively, is stopping the run game, kind of trying to force them to be one-dimensional. So we're going to stop the run game. Obviously, they have 13 games of doing what they do at an elite level, and we got 12 games of doing what we do at a high level. So they're going to be themselves. We're going to do what we've done. We're going to line up, obviously try to confuse that quarterback as much as we can because he's a tremendous talent. But we're going to play our game. Obviously it's what got us to this point. We've had a lot of success doing that. So, we believe in the Aztecs. We believe in what we've built and what we do schematically. So we're going to stick to our guns.
This bowl game, by the way, between San Diego State and North Texas has the most combined wins of any game outside of the college football playoff. It will be played a week from Saturday in New Mexico, back at Albuquerque, a game you can hear right here on San Diego Sports 760. And Demetrius Sumler will be San Diego State's defensive coordinator for it. Coach, we appreciate you taking time for us. Congratulations on all the success this year, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks in Albuquerque, all right?
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
All right, great stuff from Demetrius Sumler. And you talk about, again, a great opportunity, but a great challenge. And I like the whole styles make fights analogy. Great defense, great offense. That's what you have. Like, you got a defense that allowed, 12 points a game? Something like that. You have an offense that scored 45. 45 is insane at any level, high school, college, or pro, is insane. And that's what you have. 12 points per game against 45 points per game. Here's what I know. Like, you're going to have to find a way to score 28 plus points, right? Because you're facing an offense, even if they're 14 points below their season average, they're scoring 30 points. So you got to assume they're going to get to somewhere in the neighborhood of 28 to 35 points. So you got to have a strategy to combat that, and you're going to have to do it with your offense.
Yeah, this game, could be hopefully high scoring.
Yeah.
But at the same time, yeah, I mean, both teams, it's going to be a good matchup. Like, it's a sneaky good bowl game. When you're looking at the bowl schedule here, and you're like, what bowl game outside the college football playoff am I intrigued in? Oh, okay, North Texas, San Diego State. That's a pretty intriguing matchup. So, yeah, I definitely, if I wasn't, San Diego State fan, I would probably tune into this game just because I'm looking at both teams, and you got, both teams double-digit wins here potentially. And so, yeah, I'm in.
What about the Gasparilla Bowl?
With Memphis?
And NC State.
I know. Memphis and NC State.
And MC State is so good.
MC State's probably the most underrated team in the country.
Dude, they can really hammer the ball. They
can run the ball like no other.
All right. At 5:30, if you missed Mike Farron, MLB Network Radio, good conversation with Mike about the Padres offseason and their needs. You'll hear that conversation coming up at 5:30. If you missed it earlier, what Ken Rosenthal had to say about AJ Preller, you'll hear from Ken Rosenthal on the other side. We are here until 6 p.m. Jim's back page is still coming up. Have we given everything away? We have. We've given away the auto show tickets. We've given away Aztec basketball tickets. We are here until 6 p.m. This is John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760, and live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, John and Jim. San Diego Sports 760. Mike Farron coming up at 5:30, Jim. Mike Farron, MLB Network Radio. On the show.
I can't wait to listen to that conversation.
Oh, it'll
again.
be good. It'll be good. Talking
great.
baseball.
Talking baseball.
We're talking baseball. We're talking Padres with Mike Farron. If you missed this earlier, let's hear from Ken Rosenthal. Do we have Ken Rosenthal? Let's hear from Ken Rosenthal on the Padres and AJ Preller here this winter and react.
This is a competitive division, and the Padres, depending on what happens here, are going to have a hard time keeping up. So we'll see what happens. And certainly, if Preller trades a huge contract, a Xander Bogaerts, for instance, no one should be surprised. Bogaerts does have a full no trade. If he trades Nick Pivetta, as I mentioned, for the reasons I stated, no one should be surprised. If he gets players that we have not even identified, who would not even be on the radars of anybody writing about this sport or talking about this sport or even involved in this sport, that would not be a surprise either. It's AJ Preller, folks. He's always up to something.
All right, so Preller always up to something, and it could even be something that hasn't been widely discussed by the media or fans alike here over the last couple of weeks. And I buy that, don't you?
I do buy that because a lot of times when everyone's talking about something that Preller might do, he zigs and zags, and it's like, what? Like the Mason Miller thing at the trade deadline last year, did anybody think that he was going to trade away Leo DeVries for Mason Miller?
No, we did not. We absolutely did not.
So, like, did anybody think that, well, I mean, the Juan Soto thing we were talking about for a long time during that season. I'm trying to think. Like, there's been moves he's made where you're like, huh?
But the Soto thing also, like, people didn't believe, remember? They're like, no, they won't be able to.
Dylan Cease, another perfect example. That came out of nowhere.
Yep.
I think
Luis Ariz came out of nowhere.
Luis Ariz came out of left field.
Sean Manaea came out of nowhere.
Sean Manaea.
As if anyone cared.
Nobody
cares. People did.
Blake Snell kind of came out of nowhere.
Did Joe Musgrove come out of nowhere?
I think he did.
Did Yu Darvish come out of nowhere?
He did.
They've all come out of nowhere.
Right. So while we're talking so much about the Mets and the Padres possibly lining up on a deal, he's probably working on something on the side that nobody's talking about right now.
Yeah, he's 100% working on things on the side that nobody's talking about. Like, think about it. It's like in general, in anything, like there's 100 discussions that result in maybe one thing. He's not going to make 6 trades. I mean, there was that one offseason, Darvish, Snell, Musgrove. That was significant. But like the odds are he would make like one sizable trade, not 16. So if he's going to make one trade, yeah, he's probably talked to a number of teams for whatever reason, like Mike Farron, and you'll hear it coming up in 8 or 9 minutes. He's like, the reason you're hearing so much chatter about the Mets is like it's New York.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the Mets, but that doesn't mean they'd be foolish to only be talking with the Mets. Why would you only be talking with the Mets? I think the reason why there is some smoke there is the Mets probably have some needs that the Padres can fill, and the Padres probably have some needs that the Mets can fill. But obviously, if it doesn't work out with the Mets, well, then they'll turn to options B through like Z.
And the hardest part about this is like the wait, because we know something's going to happen. It has to happen. You can't go into next year with what you got. You have to add, right? And I'm sure 20 other teams in baseball are saying the same thing. Like the wait in the baseball offseason sucks. If you're not a team that jumps to the winter meetings,
yeah,
the wait sucks. And I mean, a lot of times the teams that jump in the winter meetings end up not having good years. Like it's not about who makes the biggest splashes in the offseason. So baseball, the offseason, it's a weird dynamic because you want your team to be super active, right? But there's been a lot of instances where if a team over on the side here isn't active, and they have a great season, like baseball is the ultimate wait, right? And it's just like, I want everything now.
The Brewers are the perfect example. Everyone wrote them off, and then they put together a 100-win year, whatever it was, close to 100 wins. And then, you have the only rebuttal to that, Jim, is the LA Dodgers. And it's a big rebuttal.
Yeah.
Because they're winning everything. They're winning trades, maybe. I mean, they're certainly winning free agency. and then they're winning on the field, and they're even doing it when you can not write them off, but you're like, they're not going to win 110 games. Oh, their bullpen's not very good. Oh, maybe this isn't the year. And then they still make you look wrong. So I agree with what you're saying, that it's not a prerequisite to strike big. But, I mean, you look at the Dodgers the last couple of off seasons, they've struck big, and it's paid off in meaningful ways on field. And it's like hard to discount what the Dodgers have done. That's my one issue with the Dodgers. Like, can't worry about the Dodgers. What do you mean? I have to. That's my problem with them. It's like, can't worry about the Dodgers. I have to. I look at these moves and they concern me from a Padres perspective. And I was rightfully concerned the last 2 years because look at the Dodgers.
Right. So the thing is, the Dodgers are never going to stop. They're a freight train. And hopefully one of these years you hope to, kind of get them off course a little bit. But to sit here and be like, oh, we're not worried about the Dodgers. Like, give me a break. They're directly in front of you. They're in your division. You have to play them 12, 13 times a year and probably have to go through them in the postseason as well. So, of course, you got to worry about the Dodgers.
Oh, 100%. I mean, 100%. But again, is that my primary focus today? No, I'd like to see the Padres improve the roster.
I want to know who's going to fill out the rest of this rotation.
Yeah, me too. I mean, absolutely. That's my initial focus. And they will, like we always say, we've done this so many years now. We've talked so many off seasons. We've done so many John and Jim's or wrap up shows. They'll fill out the rotation. It won't be March 29th. They're like, we don't have a number 4. Like, what are we going to do?
I know.
Like, call up, whomever. They'll have a rotation, and hopefully it'll be good enough because your rotation gets you to the postseason. Simple as that. Your rotation gets you to the postseason. The Padres cannot get to the postseason with a bad rotation. I know that. It has to be good enough to get to the postseason.
And ironically, the rotation the last 2 years has been good enough.
Absolutely.
And to get them to the postseason, and probably good enough to take them deep into the postseason.
Yeah.
Except this offense and the star players have completely shrunk and disappeared in the biggest moments when the team needed them the most.
Right. It's like you look one way and you actually should look the other way. We've talked so much rotation where, hey, offense, you going to show up?
Hey, Manny Machado, you ever going to show up in the postseason your entire career? He's going to be non-existent when it comes to postseason time.
You can't be the Clayton Kershaw of hitters.
Which is right now he is. But he's not even that because he's never accomplished what Clayton Kershaw accomplished in the regular season.
Mike Farron, MLB Network Radio on the other side, John and Jim.
All right, this update is brought to you by Staples Stores. We'll start with Aztec football news of the day. Quarterback Chris Johnson was named the second team All-American today. First Aztec since 2022 to garner AP All-American honors. Aztecs women's basketball news today. Nat Martinez was named the Mountain West Player of the Week. In college football news, Dylan Raiola, quarterback for Nebraska, has officially entered the transfer portal. Have an easy holiday only at Staples. Save on top tech and gaming gifts, plus shipping supplies and services for safe delivery. Don't miss 50% off custom cards, photo gifts, wrapping paper, and more. Visit staples.com/print for details. Staples, that was easy.
All right, Mike Farron, MLB Network Radio. If you missed it earlier, great resource for baseball fans and Padres fans. We started the conversation by asking for his thoughts on the winter meetings.
Yeah. So, like, from our standpoint for hosting radio shows that were great, because we had everybody we needed, and we have like a car wash for basically 8 hours a day with 2 shows where we just go guest to guest to guest. From a fan perspective and an action perspective, they kind of stunk. There just wasn't anything really that went on. It was also a new hotel that they used this time in Orlando as opposed to one of the Disney properties. I don't think anybody could find anybody because there were like 2 separate bar areas. It wasn't great, but at least we had it in here. Hopefully they'll avoid a lockout and we'll get it next year because we're supposed to be back in San Diego.
There we go. Oh, there we go. Perfect. Speaking of San Diego, obviously AJ Preller always in the news regarding, the winter meetings and potential blockbuster moves. When you talk to people and you see what the Padres potentially are trying to do here, what do you make of essentially everybody being in trade discussions and the possibility the Padres and Mets could line up on a deal? What are your thoughts on the recent news about, everything that's happened with the Padres so far?
Yeah, I think the Padres are trying to leave no stone unturned in how they can revamp this roster without having to dip deeper into payroll considerations. So I don't think that there's really much that's off the table. Like, I feel pretty confident that they're not going to trade Fernando Tatis Jr. and that they're not going to trade Jackson Merrill and that they're not going to trade Manny Machado. And that still leaves a lot of players that could be available. And I don't think that they really want to, leave any avenue blocked off. So I think that's where a lot of this comes from. The Mets are looking to add depth and rotation help. And I think that there are some players on shorter term deals that probably appeal to them. I think that there are probably some players that the Padres would love to have access to that are some of the young controllable starting pitchers that the Mets have. Nolan McLean isn't going to get traded, but I think Brandon Sproat and maybe even Jonah Tong makes sense. But I also think that a lot of this probably gets blown up because it's the Mets. And I think that the Padres undoubtedly are having trade talks with just about everybody because that's AJ Preller's style. So I wouldn't put a ton of stock in this yet. Getting done doesn't mean that won't happen, but I think that this kind of fits under okay, that's interesting. Both these teams are trying to find ways to reshape their roster. Maybe there is something there, but trying to complete a 1-for-1 trade is difficult enough. Trying to do something as complex as what the Padres and Mets are talking about probably doesn't happen. Although I would love to see it because we haven't had a good 7-8 player deal in a long time.
Yeah, and if it happens, it could involve AJ Preller and the Padres. Mike Farron with us right now, MLB Network Radio. Just as an aside, Mike, can you put in perspective the deal that AJ Preller is on right now? He's under contract through 2026. There's been discussions apparently both ways about extending that deal. Is it abnormal or not for a general manager coming off back-to-back 90-win years, he's been here 10 plus years, to be entering the final year of a deal? Does it have any impact at all or not?
I don't want to say that it has no impact on decision making. I think if you're a free agent, you want to know who you're going to be working for. But I would say that it probably is a pretty minor thing currently, especially because it sounds like both sides are working on an extension, right? So I think my guess is that some of this is born of the fact that Obviously Peter Seidler passed, and there has been the lawsuit by his widow, and that there has been some uncertainty in what the ownership group was going to look like. And so my guess, it's probably one of processing a lot of different things that it didn't get sooner. And AJ, to me, is the kind of guy who doesn't need to have a contract extension right away. He's not one of those guys that's going to be pushing the envelope for it. It'll get done when it gets done. So I've heard nothing since about September, well, I would say early October, that would lead me to believe anything other than AJ being in San Diego beyond this year. There was a time where I wasn't certain of it, and I think there were some open jobs, and maybe if teams had pushed, they would have had an opportunity to get permission there. But I think with the sale and the uncertainty going forward, I would be really surprised if they don't end up coming to an agreement, because it certainly sounds like they've been talking about it, and who knows when that'll come. So I think when he got named president, that happened probably in like January, I want to say. So, this at this point, I would guess it probably happens after the holidays.
Just a general question here, Mike. When you see a team going through a sale, the Padres are obviously going through one right now. How much, in your experience, have you seen that impact the team's off-season priorities, off-season moves, spending money, not spending money? How do you view that?
Yeah, I think I don't think that there's one way that I can categorize that. I think for the most part, teams show, I wouldn't say the teams always show fiscal restraint going into a sale. I think back to when the Tribune Company sold the Cubs, and this is going back almost 20 years now, but they knew that they were going to put the Cubs on the market. And 2 years before that, they spent a ton of money on free agency in an effort to try and boost their chances of winning, in the hopes of boosting the franchise value. So I think that there are some teams that look at it this way. I think there are others that are just paralyzed by sales, and that they don't do anything. I have nothing to indicate that the Padres aren't going to operate as they have been operating the last year and a half or 2 years. They have a budget. They know what the budget is. They're going to work through that. They're probably not going to be big spenders like they were under Peter Seidler, but that they're going to try and be as flexible as possible to keep the payroll in a similar range to where it is. And, that's really not all that different than what they did last offseason. So I don't think it's going to end up having a huge impact. I think if you were to be too stagnant, that it might draw some negative attention from potential buyers. But I just think they're in a position right now where it's kind of the regular course of business. I don't really see anything that's going to make that feel a whole lot different.
Mike Farron, MLB Network Radio, with us right now on John and Jim. So I guess I'm curious to get your perspective on just where the Padres are. And do you see it as like a tightrope act where they have needs like the back of the rotation? There's other needs in there as well. And they're trying to, get back to the postseason, and they're on this budget like most teams in baseball are, outside of like the Dodgers, the Mets, and a few others. As in, can they walk this tightrope effectively once again, or how challenging will it be this time around in 2026?
Yeah, it's never easy. When you have a budget, you're always and you're up against it. It's not easy to do, but I think the fact that AJ Preller has managed to walk that tightrope the last couple of years should give you confidence that he's going to be able to field a very competitive team. Listen, if they roll it out right now, they're going to have one of the best bullpens in the National League. And they still have a really good lineup if they don't make any changes. And so what do they need? They need a couple of starters, right? Joe Musgrove should be back at some point. That'll help some. I'm not sure that they're deep enough in their system to rely entirely on that. So they probably need an external addition or two. But it's not like they're working from, a roster situation that's like Washington's. They're working from a pretty good team. So I think that's part of where the reluctance to do anything, super big is that you don't want to break up this core. Tatis and Merrill and Machado is still, even though Manny's getting older, is still a pretty good troika. Add into it that I really liked. I think we talked about it last summer, like the Freddie Fermin trade. Like they finally have an everyday catcher, right? That's somebody that they've needed. So they've filled a lot of these holes that they have. And in some cases, like with Fermin and, some of the other starters that they'd acquired over the last 2 years, they did it relatively inexpensively. Now they gave a lot at the deadline last year to try and make pushes, but they have a pretty solid roster overall. So I don't think it's going to be something where I don't think it's any more difficult than any other team has. I think that there's a constant woe is me that comes from having a budget. I mean, listen, my wife puts me on a strict budget, and it's woe is me around the house all the time because of that. It's probably smart on her part, but
that's hilarious.
Definitely understand that one. So looking at the rest of baseball here, Mike, what do you think the next big move to happen is? We got a couple at the winter meetings, but not a lot. What's your sense on what could happen here next?
Yeah, I think as to what happens next, I would think that there's going to be a trade for Brendan Donovan at some point this week. It certainly sounds like the Giants and the Mariners. You heard that going back to the winter meetings were the two teams that were maybe positioned best. I think the Michael King market should get moving here. I think that's another guy that could come off the board. He has a number of suitors. I think those are probably the biggest ones this week. Maybe you'll get another one of the big position players like Kyle Tucker before Christmas. But I think there's going to be some trade discussions too. I do think it'll be pretty active over the next 10 days because I think a lot of people would like to get their business done before they start opening presents. Or at least a good chunk of it, knowing that they can come back in the first week of January and finish it up. And I think that that's probably more like when Bo Bichette will sign. But I think that there's a couple of moves that are similar to those that could happen here. And, you never know. Everything's always a one phone call away, right? So if somebody suddenly blows the Diamondbacks away on Ketel Marte, that deal could happen any day. But I don't think that that's going to be, right. Yeah, that one could drag on for a little bit, just depending on what the way the rest of the market goes. The other name I should mention is Murakami, the Munetaka Murakami, who's the slugging corner infielder from Japan, who's young, strikes out a lot, and hits for a ton of power. His posting deadline is a week from today. And so at some point in the next week, he's going to agree to a deal with someone. So we know the date on that, and it has to be done by the 22nd. There hasn't been a whole lot of buzz on where he's going to end up yet. He's a really talented player, but the strikeouts are a little bit concerning. It could be that he is a little bit Joey Gallo-ish.
Ooh, interesting. A name you've heard tied to AJ Preller for forever.
Yeah.
What's the budget? What's the dollar figure you're looking at, a ballpark for Murakami?
Man, that's a good question. I don't know. I mean, he's got age on his side, right? Those tend to be the players that get bigger deals. And he has light tower power, but there are some pretty big concerns about the swing and miss. I mean, like, he struck out a really high percentage of the time in a league where strikeouts aren't as prevalent in Japan, and he has had trouble handling velocity. And he's probably a first baseman, not a third baseman. So, I think that there's this feeling that it's going to be in the $150 million range, and maybe that is true. Maybe it ends up being 6 years and something, like that. But it's a tougher sell just because of the quality of contact issues. Kazuma Okamoto is the other big hitter that's coming from Japan, and he is more of a complete hitter. He's on the wrong side of the platoon. He's a right-handed hitter. He's probably a first baseman too. He doesn't have the same kind of power. It's probably more average-ish power. But it's like, he might be a similar kind of hitter to a Christian Walker type with a tick less power. He's a good player. He's about 4 years older, I think, than Murakami. I think he'll play at 29. I really like Okamoto. If I had to pick between the two, if it were just like, hey, you need to sign this guy for the next couple of years, I think I would probably take Okamoto because I just think he's a better hitter. But Murakami offers tantalizing upside because there's just not a whole lot of guys that age that are freely available who can hit the ball to the moon.
Mike, love the insight. Appreciate you hopping on in San Diego. Happy holidays. Maybe under the tree will be a 7-player deal between the Padres and the Mets on Christmas Eve.
We can only hope.
I'm still holding out for the 5-pound box of money. But
yeah, I'd prefer that as well. I think Padres fans want that too here in San Diego. Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it. We'll do it after the new year.
No problem. Take care, guys. Happy holidays.
All right, great stuff there. Jim's back page coming up next. Oh, yeah. Hassan Kim.
Turn your mic on, you idiot.
I just told Jim he's pulling a U.
I was like, is this microphone off?
Never do that.
Yeah, how's that feel?
I feel like an idiot.
I wanted to see how long it took for you to notice.
Hassan Kim is an Atlanta Brave 1 year, $20 million. My mic was off.
You're talking. I was like, what's happening right now?
And I was saying, is Hassan Kim is now an Atlanta Brave. Wasn't he already an Atlanta Brave?
He was, but he returned there. $20 million for Hassan Kim on a 1 year deal?
1 year, $20 million.
What are the Braves thinking?
Well, then again, what are the Padres thinking? Their shortstop makes $300 million, dude.
$20 million for Hassan Kim? Like, as in, like, per year?
Yeah, like you can, because you can field. Come on.
$20 million.
Oh, man.
When they offered him that, they're like, yeah, I'll take $20 million.
We should have played sports.
Dude. Well, yeah, I tried to play sports, but it didn't work out.
You were like a basketball star at one point.
You
could have played in the NBA Cup if things broke differently. Like if everyone broke all their bones and you were the last man standing.
I'm just there.
Oh, man. Anyway, Hassan came to the Braves 1 year, $20 million, whatever. That wasn't happening here, obviously. Let's get to it.
Well, the Padres spent $20 million in this offseason.
No.
Oh, my gosh. So, listen to this story. A PSA 10 2023 Bowman U Chrome Prospect Superfractor Bronny James 1/1 card. Auto 10 PSA 10.
Okay.
Just went up on eBay.
$15.
Guess how much?
Bronny?
A Bronny 1/1 2023 Chrome Prospect Super Refractor card, which is
it's a 1/1, right?
It's a 1/1 PSA 10 Auto 10, and this is in his USC jersey.
29.5.
Try $1 million.
That's just ridiculous.
Did his dad make the bid?
Well, no. So somebody put it on eBay for $1 million. So the eBay user listed this card at $1 million.
Got you.
So yeah, no one bid on the card, but if you want the card,
I mean, would you even pay? Like honestly, when I said $29,500, I would never. If I had unlimited money, I wouldn't buy that for $30,000.
And this is through PSA because like you have to go through like a authentication thing now. So the user has to have this authenticated through PSA because he's putting it up for so much money. But $1 million, the previous high sale for this card,
how much?
$10,000.
That's what I'm saying. Even 10,000.
10,000 for a Bronny? No.
Hey, the Blue Jays will buy it.
Maybe.
I mean,
Blue Jays are buying everything.
They like to overpay for stuff.
Again, it's all because of his last name. I mean, obviously, like there's no other reason why that would be selling.
If his name was Bronny
Schaefer.
Richards, yeah,
Bronny Schaefer.
Bronny Schaefer, not a bad name.
No, that's terrible.
So Pokemon cards are becoming like way more expensive than any other cards nowadays. Like it's outdoing sports cards, every other card. Pokemon cards is the number one.
Mm-hmm.
A rare first edition Charizard. Okay. PSA 10 shadowless. Previous record sale high was $420,000.
That's a ripoff.
It sold for $550,000. Only 124 PSA 10 examples have ever been graded.
How many?
124.
There's 124 and one of them is selling for $500,000?
Yeah.
Dude, I mean, that's scarce, but it's not like there's two of them.
124 PSA 10s.
Okay, that's okay. That means there's 124 that are valued roughly to $500,000?
Correct.
Man, that's insane.
This shadowless base set first edition Charizard PSA 10. That's insane.
Do you have a copy?
No, I do not. If I had a copy, I wouldn't be talking to you right now. But I did have, like, it's one of those classic cases of like, had that when I was a kid. Like,
exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, I didn't have a first edition base set Shadowless Charizard, but I did have a base set Charizard, which still could go for thousands of dollars.
What's the difference? Just rarity, obviously.
The difference is two little minute things. One, when I say Shadowless, the like box that the Pokemon character's in,
it has no shadow.
Has no shadow. And the other is this tiny little stamp on the left-hand side underneath the picture that says first edition. Those are the most rare Pokemon cards. The first set base edition Shadowless. So any like first edition base set Shadowless holographic card are worth thousands of dollars.
Okay. Do you have any of those?
I do not. No. I do not. But 5,325 Charizards have been graded by PSA, first edition base set.
Mm-hmm.
Only 124 have ever been graded.
Gotcha. So that's only like a 1 in 500 or whatever, 1 in 50. I might be screwing up the math.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. So if you have a Charizard base set first edition out there, Shadowless, like,
oh yeah, I do.
You might want to get that thing
6.
graded, and you can make some big time money on that thing.
Okay.
And finally, it is a Crumble Cookie Monday, John. Here are the Crumble Cookies of the week. You're gonna like these. This one's awesome. The cookie that stole Christmas. Do you want to know what kind of cookie it is? Like what?
Probably like Grinch.
It is a Grinch cookie.
That's cool.
It's a Grinch cookie. A holiday red velvet sandwich cookie.
Okay.
A eggnog tres leches cake cookie. Chocolate crumb cookie featuring Oreos.
Nice.
A peanut butter cup cookie featuring Reese's.
That's amazing.
A candy cane brownie cookie and a milk chocolate chip cookie. Yo.
Look at them. The cookie that stole Christmas?
Yep.
Can't do that. You can't steal Christmas.
We learned earlier you can as long as you give it back.
Right, exactly.
Let's do this all again tomorrow, shall we?
Okay.
Beginning at 2 p.m. If you missed anything today, sportssd.com, iHeartRadio app, iTunes, TuneIn Radio, or Spotify. Back tomorrow, same time, same place at 2 p.m. This Preller strike between now and 2 p.m. tomorrow. For Brent and Jim, I'm John. Keep it here. This is San Diego Sports 760. Bye-bye.